Also stepping into his dad's most iconic role.
Plus, we have got a great story. It's going to put a smile on your face. It's about a camp where kids are building confidence and learning an important lesson about embracing who they are.
And it's Wednesday, so that means it's
Trends Day.
We're breaking down all the hot topics for you. So, SG, let's hit play.
Oh, also, I dressed you and Jenna.
Oh, yeah.
That was so fun.
The outfits.
Yeah, for Tuesday. But now it's Trends Day Wednesday.
You're right.
It's time for Today in 30. We're going to begin with NBC's Stephanie Goskin. Those highly anticipated decisions on boosters and vaccines. Stephanie, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. You know, foot traffic at vaccination centers like this one has really trailed off in recent months, but that could change with the FDA making these two decisions. One, as you mentioned, for younger children to get the Pfizer vaccine, and then this issue over the Pfizer booster. A CDC panel will meet this morning to talk about it, and then soon afterwards, the FDA could make its decision.
This morning, two big Pfizer vaccine decisions looming over the FDA. Parents want their young children vaccinated.
We're planning to vaccinate our 5-year-old, so we have two newborns at home and a 3-year-old. If only we could get them vaccinated too.
Pfizer saying a smaller dose of its vaccine triggers strong immune responses in 5 to 11-year-old kids. Authorization for those younger children could come before Halloween. This as other age groups want a boost to their vaccines.
I'll be the first in line.
The FDA's highly anticipated decision on the Pfizer booster is expected as early as today. But at a time when U.S. COVID deaths still average more than 1,900 per day, not everyone is waiting.
A lot of people I know are going out and getting unauthorized boosters. This, I think, really should compel the FDA to act more quickly.
Many taking boosters into their own hands after a month of mixed messages. The Biden administration supported boosters in August, saying they'd be widely available this week. They're not, and some scientists have disagreed over the need for them over the past few weeks. Even when the decision comes down for the Pfizer booster, those who received the Moderna or J&J vaccines will still have to wait.
This is not the situation where we want to be, where people are eligible or not eligible based on which vaccine they got. This is part of the problem of the process that the FDA is trying to manage.
Right now, only people with immune deficiencies are authorized to get a booster, like Sarah Willette. She got hers back in July.
For people like me, we were jumping on being able to get our third dose.
But while the push grows for booster approval, the World Health Organization is urging restraint, asking for a moratorium on boosters to healthy young adults, so vaccines can go to countries that don't have them yet.
Let's focus on getting vaccines everywhere to save the lives we need to save, and then we can go back to the general concept of boosters.
So boosters is one thing. We expect that decision as early as today. There's also a vaccine decision for kids looming, probably weeks away. How soon do we think that could happen? And you know, a big question is, are parents going to do it? Are they willing to take their kids right in?
So, Savannah, the hope is that that decision comes around Halloween, before Halloween, potentially. The Family Research Council has been tracking this issue of hesitancy among parents, and their latest numbers show that 26 parents would definitely get their kids ages 5 to 11 vaccinated. Then there's that squishy middle of about 40% who say they want to wait and see. 25% say they definitely would not. And then, interestingly, 9% say they would if they were compelled. It's important to point out, however, that those numbers reflect attitudes before these surges in pediatric cases that we've seen with the Delta variant. Savannah?
And there definitely has been a surge in these last few weeks as school started. Stephanie, thank you very much.
Stick around because there's much more coming up on Today in 30.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic.
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back. You hear that?
I know
For
that
6
song.
seasons, just hearing that song meant one thing. Viewers were heading into the seedy underworld of The Sopranos.
Oh, indeed they are. And now
a new film.
Yeah. Sorry, our
We have this. The prompter went down, but we have it memorized. No, take it away. The Many Saints of Newark is coming out. It stars John Bernthal and Michael Gandolfini. Let's take a look at a clip, shall we?
Good idea.
That was a gift! You take them! I don't want any part of this. None of it. I don't want any part of this. Ah! What this? What this?
What this? Michael
What
and
dis?
John, welcome,
What dis?
welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so exciting. Savannah and I were just saying a lot of people would like to be sitting in our shoes right now talking to you guys. Now, Michael, is it true initially you were thinking to yourself, you know what, I don't know that I want to audition for that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, when the audition first came around, I had never seen the show. I had never really in any involvement, so I didn't even really know what Tony Soprano was.
Can we pause for a second? You never saw the show?
He was little. It's not for kids, right?
But even as you were growing, you didn't want to see it, huh?
No, I just felt it's going to be an intense experience when I do it, and I couldn't really convince myself a reason to do it yet until I got this amazing opportunity in this movie, and then I got to sort of become a fan like everyone else.
Michael, you're so stunning in the movie, and you're so self-possessed, but let's just pause for a moment and look at what you've done here. Not only is it your first movie, that first movie is a prequel to an iconic, beloved, legendary show. You're playing an iconic character, and that character happens to be your father. You got guts. Honestly, what did it take inside you to take on a challenge like that? Because it takes bravery.
Sure.
I just felt like I sort of broke it down to these little chunks. I didn't think about the macro. It was first about doing a good audition, doing a second audition, doing a third audition.
They really made you go through all those?
Yeah, 3 auditions, and then, auditioning was the hardest part because you don't have anyone to lean on. Once John came on and I leaned on these guys so much, it was much better. It was just about being the best actor that I could be and learning from these guys and sort of just doing my job the best I could. That's what I was focused on every day, not anything else.
And John, did you become a little bit of a teacher? Again, this is his very first role, trying to learn how to do it.
Listen, I have so much love for this young man. I go from being so proud of him to in awe of him. He approached this with so much courage. I mean, you guys said it, and conviction. And he's I love him. And my job on this film was to be there by him, by his side, getting his back. And there's no one. It's just that this is. It was a beautiful thing to sort of be part of his process, and that's. I'll always be grateful for that.
It also took courage for you too, because anyone who tries to mess with something that is so iconic, all eyes are on you. How much pressure did you feel as well?
Listen, it's single-handedly the greatest sort of piece of art of that's been in the zeitgeist, in the modern zeitgeist. And so I think you can't really think about it in those terms. I honestly, for me, first person I met on this job was Mikey. He came up to my house in Ojai, California. He told me the mission that he was on and what he was trying to do. And for me, it was really just being there with him and for him and by his side. And that was something that was really, again, I cannot say enough about this young man, how great an actor he is, and how great a human being he is. So, I believe it's
Well,
true.
you guys are, it's clear you have a bond because you actually are wearing a matching outfit almost today. When we put you on the two-shot there, it does look like twins.
His socks are way better. Mike, you got to show
He does have, I mean,
those socks, man.
Sock game is so strong.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Michael, for you, it's for someone who lost their father so young, and I can relate to this. You're looking, anything that connects you to him is it's a treasure. It's a gift.
Yeah.
Is there something healing about kind of like stepping? Your father was not Tony Soprano. That's
Totally.
not who he was.
Yeah.
But something he invested so much in and gave to for you to kind of hold hands with that.
You know, when we were doing it, I never thought about it. It was just doing the best job. But when I sat in that theater and I watched it for the first time, I felt like, oh man, I got to do this with my dad. We got to do this thing together. And it was a really incredible feeling and shocked me just because I think I numbed that out because I just wanted to be a good actor and do my job and learn. But I did feel that when I watched it for the first time.
His 60th birthday just passed. I wondered what you were thinking about on that day.
It's been so long that it felt like a good day. You know, any anniversary is a celebration of him, I think, and just the gratitude and, you know, all the lessons he taught me and all the people in my life that have stepped up and helped me. And so it felt like a celebration of him.
Well, I love, you had never seen The Sopranos, but John, you were the opposite.
Yeah.
You wanted to be on The Sopranos so
it.
bad in the original. I heard you were like willing to be like the dead body victim. Like you were
I
like
followed
any
the
role.
yellow signs. I hung out on the set. You know, anything. Can I walk in the background? Yeah, never got that audition, but
Well,
yeah.
see, dreams come true
They do.
for both of you.
Did you really have to, just real quick, did you really have to slap Michael for real?
Oh, yeah.
Was there a real slap?
Oh, 100. But he's
Wait,
super game.
no,
He's
like a
he
real
no baby
deal?
boy. Yeah, he's about this thing.
You had a
Yeah.
slapping scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had, Alessandra slaps me twice, and then he slaps me.
Mine wasn't written. I think I was.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if I hit you too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but John definitely, he was like, look how good I am at like not hurting you. Like I can I'm so, because of, you know. I'm
But did it
Punisher,
kind of hurt a
so-
little?
I mean, it felt, you know, it's when you're there, it's good. It's good. You're doing
You're
it.
still hitting my face.
Yeah, it was
And
good.
they cut that scene.
I know, after all that.
Yeah, it's
wow.
one of my favorite scenes still.
Well, you'll always have that slapping scene.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pleasure,
Michael,
guys.
John, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Congratulations to both of you. The Many Saints of Newark hits theaters and HBO Max next Friday, October 1st. We don't have to encourage people to check it out. You know everyone's going to be wanting to
Congrats,
see
guys.
it. Thank you.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show.
In a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
and important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show.
In a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
and important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
This week, we launched our new Today Climate Initiative, and we wanted to show you the impact the climate crisis is having on one historic place.
Changing temperatures and extreme weather are now a threat to Scotland's iconic castles.
Today, senior international correspondent Keir Simmons met some of the people fighting to save them. Keir, I find this fascinating. These buildings have been there for so long, and now there's this real threat.
That's right, Dylan. Good morning, Al. Good morning, Maria. You know, we headed up to Edinburgh Castle, thousands of years of human history. It actually sits on volcanic rock, which goes back millions of years, and yet, they've never seen rain like they saw this summer. Scotland, known for its rolling hills, picturesque valleys, and rainy days. But as our climate changes, so does the weather. Towering above the country's capital, the iconic Edinburgh Castle, one of hundreds of Scotland's historic sites, feeling the effects. I met with David Harkin, a climate scientist working to protect these places. Good to meet you. Predictably, it's raining.
I mean, classic Scotland, really. Yeah, welcome.
Great view, though.
Unbeatable, I'd say.
With a history dating back almost 3,000 years, it's a site worth saving. So this is Castle Rock. It doesn't get much more historic than this.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're actually almost certainly standing in one of the longest continuously inhabited places in the UK.
Amongst the stones, stories of royalty, war and sieges. People tried to attack this castle again and again.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Various points throughout its history.
With some traditions still kept alive today. I'll be able to hear again soon. But now the castle is on the front line of a different kind of battle. Last July, an extreme rainstorm turned a 17th century courtyard into a waterfall.
The weather can quite literally shut this place down, much like the old battles and the old sieges used to do.
This castle has fought against adversary after adversary.
That's right.
Has it ever faced anything like climate change?
Today, in the 21st century, climate change, I would say, is arguably the greatest threat that the castle faces.
For scientists like David, the writing is on the wall.
So you've had what's called delamination. A thin surface layer sort of has fallen off. This is supposed to happen in a way.
But not fast.
But not as fast as climate change will make it happen.
It's not just Edinburgh Castle. A quarter of Scotland's buildings are historic. Its many Neolithic sites, abbeys and ruins threatened by sea level rises and storms. To preserve the past, conservationists draw on techniques both old and new, tracking decay using digital mapping techniques and maintaining sites with constant repairs. With all this heritage to protect, perhaps it's not surprising that Scotland is a world leader in climate change mitigation. By 2045, the Scots aim to reduce net greenhouse gases to zero. And in a rare glimpse from the castle roof, beauty and vulnerability on full display. You stand here and you realise how exposed this castle truly is to all of the elements.
That's right, yeah. I mean, the castle and its different structures and components will be really exposed and vulnerable to every passing storm. We already know that Scotland's about 1 degree warmer. We know that our wettest days are getting wetter. We know that our hottest days are getting hotter.
Scotland, with its rich history, now working to protect its future. And guys, it's an aspect of climate change that perhaps we don't think about. There are actually historic sites around the world that are threatened by the changing weather. I guess also I should just clarify for viewers, guys, that I'm not in Edinburgh and I'm not outside a castle. I'm outside my own house, even though I know Al thinks I live in a castle.
That's right. That's right. Every man's home is his castle, and lady. Yes. Thank you. All right, Keir. That was a fascinating piece. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Keir.
Well, school's back in session, but a lot of kids are probably still hanging on to those great summer camp memories, especially those who attended one particular camp in upstate New York that's so much more than just having fun. Welcome to Camp Say.
Welcome to camp!
From sing-alongs to basketball games to flash mobs in the mess hall, Camp Say looks like your typical sleepaway summer program.
I just say like what my speech therapist has.
But mostly, it's a safe space for kids who stutter.
For a lot of them, this is the first time that they have met another person who stutters. But more importantly, to have a space where their words, their ideas, their thoughts are fully seen and heard and acknowledged.
I look around and I see family.
Travis Robertson is the director of Camp Say and has lived with a stutter his whole life.
The goal is oftentimes to take it away, to fix it. It took me many years of really kind of having the sense of self and having the confidence to really own the fact that this is a part of who I am.
Travis says it's that sense of community that gives the campers the confidence to let their guards down and just be themselves.
Just to be able to be in a room with people who understand and who don't need the explanation of why it takes me a little longer to say what I need to say, or why my face or my body may move in a certain way. You just kind of feel the shoulders go down collectively when you're seen in that way.
And while there are plenty of fun activities, Camp Say also provides the tools to help these kids reach their speech goals.
They can order the food that they want on their own, that they can make new friends, that they can do all of the things that, we all do on a daily basis and do it confidently.
14-year-old David Mills and 16-year-old Caitlin Teneo are both campers and already have plans to return next summer.
I was terrified of being away from home, but the minute that I stepped at camp, my whole world really changed.
I knew people stuttered, but I didn't know there is a community, and it was really good. It was a nice feeling to know that I wasn't alone.
I no longer have that fear of talking to new people and wondering what they think or how I look like when I stutter. I don't fear anything anymore.
Can I substitute fries for tater tots?
To help get the word out about the camp, they recently launched a PSA using real campers who've gone through the program.
Are you guys hiring?
We are. And with the help of celebrities like Paul Rudd, who holds an annual fundraiser for the organization.
I would really encourage any parent to send their kid to this camp if they stutter. I think it's a life-changing experience.
They're trying to break the stigma of living with a stutter.
Stuttering that really has no bounds in terms of who it affects. Over 70 million people worldwide stutter. That point of connection is so vast and so wide, and so we hope that our programming, that our reach is really a reflection of that.
What a terrific program. Yeah. And while the camp is over for this year, their parent organization, Say, operates programs year-round for kids who stutter. And for more information on Camp Say, go to our website, today.com.
Is there one location, or is it all across?
There's one location for this camp, but they do programs all around the country.
Wow, fascinating.
That's so great.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Today in 30 on Today All Day. We got a good Trends Day Wednesday for you. We got some casting news. We got some love news. We got some Oscar news. We got all kinds of news today.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Joe Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
If you haven't had your morning cup of coffee just yet, you may want to skip it because today we are overflowing with somebody spilling the tea.
Yeah, we're going to spill a lot of it. Our Paul Justin Sylvester is at the Daily Pop studio in LA. He's ready to spill all those juicy Wednesday scoop. Justin!
Oh my gosh, Adele looks fantastic. What is going on?
It's called love, everybody. Adele is finally rolling in the deep. She went Insta official with her boyfriend, Rich Paul. Now, don't worry, ladies. We did a background check. He's cool. He's legit. He's LeBron James's agent. The man has his own dough. He's got his own career, and he's got a credit score of 825. Don't ask me how I know that. Don't ask me how I know that.
How did they meet? Do you know how they met?
Okay, so I don't know how they met, but they apparently went to the Lakers star Anthony Davis's wedding in LA. Now, they were first spotted back in July at Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Hoda, you know as well as I do, if a man invites you to the most important game of the season,
Yes, that's
it's
it.
love.
That's it. He's in love.
That's it. And we get to hear new music from her, so this could be like a whole new thing.
Wait, are you guys happy about that? Because
Yes.
I think I speak for a lot of Adele fans when I say I'm waiting for my breakup album. I wanted the divorce album, okay?
Yeah,
but
we
now
missed the
everybody
divorce.
thinks it's gonna be everybody thinks it's gonna be love songs now.
Maybe we need that.
Justin, we need love songs, honey.
Do we?
Yes, we do. Yeah. All right, okay, Justin, this is a new artsy take on Shakespeare, which we're kind of excited about.
Yeah.
Oh my God, William Shakespeare is heading to the big screen in a dark, moody remake of Macbeth, starring heavy hitters Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. Now, do you know the saying, he woke up and chose violence?
Is that from Macbeth? Probably. I studied Shakespeare.
No, but Denzel woke up and chose an Oscar. Take a look at this clip.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
Wow.
Cinematography 101. Everything looks more dramatic in black and white. Am I right, ladies?
You are right.
so right.
Oh my gosh, that shirt is so good. That nightgown is so good on you.
Oh, thank you. Now, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a film that comes out really early in the year, but by the time the Oscars comes around, it feels old and it doesn't get nominated?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, listen to this. Macbeth will not have that problem because it comes out this Friday at the New York Film Festival. It hits theaters on Christmas Day, and it goes to Apple TV in January. Oscar voting starts early March.
That's the
They
perfect.
planned this better than a Beyonce pregnancy announcement. Am I right?
You were
Justin,
right.
you the bomb.
We
Thank
love you, Justin.
You can catch Justin weekdays on Daily Pop on our sister network, E!
Did you like that?
It was good.
You're going to love tomorrow. It's going to be a great one. The cast of Dateline will be here to celebrate a very special milestone. Or was it murder?
Will Keith Morrison be here?
I hope. Oh my
Have
gosh.
a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
This morning on Mr. Smith goes to St. Louis. More than a century and a half ago, America's racial divide was challenged by a courageous man who wanted better for his family.
Yeah, that man was a slave named Dred Scott. He would become a central part of one of the most consequential Supreme Court cases in the history of this country. Harry traveled to the gateway to the West to take a look at how the work Scott started is still being pushed forward today. Hey, Harry.
Yeah, good morning, guys. You know, it's interesting. I was in St. Louis for a story about 2 years ago, walking by the old courthouse. There's an important statue there. And I said to myself, I really need to know more about these people. So we went back this summer to find out.
It is a landmark familiar to many, near the Arch in St. Louis, the old courthouse, a grand temple of justice, but not for all.
This is the building where Dred and Harriet Scott actually walked up the steps on April 6th of 1846 to sue for their freedom.
Lynn Jackson knows the story well. Dred Scott was her great-great-grandfather.
I'm very proud of Dred Scott because he was courageous to do what he did at a time when it was considered sedition.
Scott was a slave whose owner had moved his family to the free state of Illinois. Based on a doctrine called once free, always free, Scott sued.
He was not willing to run and put his wife and little girls in jeopardy of being caught.
The case lasted more than a decade, ultimately decided by the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Roger Taney, who wrote that blacks were, quote, regarded as beings of an inferior order, altogether unfit to associate with the white race, and so far inferior that they had no rights which the white man was bound to respect.
He, in essence, said, you are not a citizen of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You have no rights. Is that the way you read it?
Definitely, he did say that.
Abolitionists were outraged. Slaveholders were vindicated and emboldened. The Civil War all but inevitable.
I think that one of the struggles we have in America is that we think about the Civil War as ending all of racism. And what the Civil War did is that it ended slavery in America. But we then had Jim Crow and Jane Crow. We had these laws that solidified racism and a racial hierarchy in America.
Lerone Martin is the head of American Culture Studies at Washington University in St. Louis. He believes the backwash of the Dred Scott decision still ripples through our society.
I see fear, and I see the inability to recognize the human in the other. The inability to recognize that African Americans are actually human beings who, in my tradition, we say all human beings are made in the image of God.
That refusal to recognize humanity lived out in nearby Ferguson 6 years ago, where Michael Brown's body lay unattended for 4 hours after a police shooting.
What do we want? Justice!
The town erupted. We stood in that very spot.
Did Michael Brown's death have anything to do with you running for mayor?
It had everything to do with me running for mayor.
In the tumult of the protests, Ella Jones felt a calling. The former pharmaceutical chemist and Mary Kay rep wants to lead her town and her police force to a better future.
Can you make a difference?
It's all about making a difference. This election has given people hope, and even now, people are stepping up. This is going to be an amazing city. I'm counting on it. I'm counting on it.
Ella Jones is undeterred as she faces the task ahead, as was the man buried in an unremarkable section of a massive St. Louis cemetery not all that far away.
Here is this fantastically courageous person.
Well, he had to be. You know, in some regards, I think he was also thrust into that role. You know, he kept it going. And he said, you know, I really wanted my wife and my daughters to be free. But he realized that the freedom of all Africans who were enslaved was at stake.
And that gravesite in St. Louis is the most frequently visited stone in all of in that giant cemetery. Strangers come up, they say, "Where is Dred Scott?" That's the one little tiny spot that is visited most often.
Way to connect history to the president, Mr. Smith. That was great.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world.
Love it!
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Even as the pandemic kept so many of us at home, nearly 30 million people in the U.S. moved to a new home in 2020.
Than 4 million of those folks, by the way, they jumped from one state to another, and the destinations might surprise you.
So our buddy Harry Smith joins us now. Harry, good morning. It's good to see you, as always. So we know that people are leaving major cities like New York here, San Francisco, L.A., Seattle. The question is that Craig just asked, where's everybody going?
Well, you know, it's so interesting what happened during the pandemic. I think a lot of people looked at their lives and said, if I'm going to live someplace, why not live in a place I've always wanted to live, or go someplace that's maybe more affordable or has more recreational opportunities? Well, the answer for many, many people is Idaho.
Mark Jenkins and Lori Crowell love their new home.
And when did you move in here?
5 days ago.
Oh, it's that new house smell.
It is.
Brand new, in fact.
Man, how happy are you with this?
Oh, ecstatic.
Love it. Absolutely love it. It's beautiful.
Lots in their subdivision on the outskirts of Boise sell within days of going on the market. Boise, in case you haven't heard, is booming.
We knew we wanted to move, we didn't know where.
Right.
And we had an idea, it was Boise.
It's got the quality of life that we had in Seattle, but on a smaller scale.
At least for the moment, that is. Idaho is the fastest growing state in the country. Real estate values in Boise are up 32% in the last year. 32%. Where there had been no new rental apartment construction in decades, developer Casey Lynch is putting up his fourth downtown building in just 5 years.
Can you literally not build these things fast enough?
At this moment in time, you can't build them fast enough. It's like a cultural phenomenon. Boise is just on the tip of everybody's tongue right now, where 10 years ago, people thought Boise was in Iowa.
Not anymore. Most every day, newcomers arrive from California, Seattle, and Portland. Longtime locals like Carrie Despot are not pleased.
Everyone that comes from somewhere else always says Boise. They act like there's a Z in Boise. There's no Z. It's Boise.
And what Carrie sees, she does not like.
What's changed for me is growing up here, I would look at these foothills every day, and I love these foothills. We no longer get to see our pretty foothills. We see houses.
Carrie echoes a common local lament.
We can't say you can't come to Idaho, but I wish that we could slow down, take into account what we do have, keep it pristine, because otherwise it's just going to be another California.
As the population grows and prices increase, Boise faces other pressures, like the soaring cost of apartment rentals.
Demand for rental assistance for tenants has just skyrocketed.
Ali Rabi runs a nonprofit geared to aid and prevent homelessness.
Over the last year, we've seen a lot more people moving into hotels, their cars, couch surfing, living right on the line, about to go to shelter.
So there's a housing shortage for both those who want to move to Boise and those being priced out of the market.
How do you keep Boise, Boise?
That's the challenge of our time.
Before she was mayor, Lauren McLean led the fight for open space here. Her challenge is now affordable housing, water preservation, and catching up to the speed of her city's growth.
We recognize the magic of this community that we live in. We have welcomed each other for years. There are a lot of challenges that come with it, but it gives us a focus. Morning.
Newcomers Mark and Lori, whose home has increased a whopping 60% in value since they purchased it a year ago, feel like they've won the lottery.
We have friends of ours who we've met since we've been here, chiropractors. They said, welcome to Boise. Don't tell anyone else. And it's sort of like, the secret's out. Sorry.
Best kept secret.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. It's already out. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah, so much for the best kept secret. I'll tell you, when we landed in Boise, it reminded me of when I first went to Denver 50 years ago and looked around, and here's this beautiful, sleepy, kind of sublime place right near the foothills. And boy, there's just a kind of crazy growing energy there now. And you have to sympathize with the locals, like, how do we keep this from exploding into a thing where we want to leave? Yeah,
Right.
it's really quite something.
That is tough. I have to admit, I've never been to Idaho, and those pictures, Harry, look
Gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful. So I
Gorgeous.
see why people
almost as gorgeous as where I am today. And if you look this up, you'll understand where I am in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You were there yesterday as well, Harry. Are you working on some
No.
surprise
I was in the
stories?
top of the mitten yesterday,
Oh.
and now I'm all the way in the
Careful.
top.
He's
in the
moving.
top part. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Careful with that
absolutely.
hand analogy, Harry.
Are you
Well, they
using-
call it the upper hand. They call it the upper hand.
Are you using the pandemic to move as well, or are you coming back at some point?
I'm just wandering around America, and
yes.
I'm pretty darn happy about it.
You look
I'm
great,
on
Harry.
vacation.
Oh, you're on vacation.
Only Harry
And
Smith
he's
works on
working.
vacation.
I'll tell you what about Boise, though. I went there when I was a kid. We went whitewater rafting down the Payette River, which is inside Boise National
Yes.
Forest, south of Boise, which is super fun. They also have a thriving art scene in downtown Boise. You might be thinking country. They have an art, a bunch of contemporary art in the museum
Really?
there. Yeah, so that's why people are going there for a lot. They have it all.
Super thriving downtown, but recreational opportunities abound everywhere. Amazing skiing within 2 hours at max.
Well, that was great.
But all those places are exploding.
And
too,
now
by the
I
way.
will say Boise. I have to admit, I
Boise.
thought it was Boise.
That's my
So
big
there you go.
takeaway. She was not happy
She
that
was
people didn't mispronounce it.
You don't want to sound like you're from out of town.
Do not. All right, that was great.
Thanks, Harry. Appreciate it, buddy.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
and important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
While much of America is finally returning to a sense of normalcy this summer, Harry Smith is taking us to one place that's being impacted by the pandemic in a positive way. Harry, good morning. Where are you, buddy?
We are on the banks of, Little Traverse Bay. We're way up at the top of the Mitten in Michigan. And just trust me, on this journey I'm going to take you on, if you make a left-hand turn, you get into Chicago. But if you go up all the way back around here, under the Mackinac Bridge, through Lake Huron, ultimately into Lake Erie, at the end of Lake Erie, you're in Buffalo. But if you're in the right place at the right time, you're going to think you're in Toronto.
Batting practice. The home team Toronto Blue Jays are taking their cuts. But Toronto, this is not. It's Buffalo. COVID closed the Canadian border, so the Blue Jays are a little like the Flying Dutchman, the mythical ship doomed to never return home. The Blue Jays played here last year, too.
We weren't home, and we wanted to be home, and we were the only team of 30 that was not able to play in their home city, country, stadium, all those things.
Mark Shapiro is the Blue Jays president and CEO.
Did you ever imagine that you would be back here again?
Did any of us ever imagine we'd be back here?
So the Blue Jays spent millions to upgrade minor league Salem Field up to major league standards.
This is a good major league
Big
clubhouse.
room for everybody.
Yeah.
And if some of the Blue Jays feel like it's deja vu all over again, it's because they played here when they were with the Buffalo Bisons, Toronto's top farm club.
I played here in 2019 in AAA, and the renovations that the team has done here to get it ready for a big league atmosphere is it's incredible.
Last year, because of COVID, there were no fans. This year, from day one, Western New Yorkers have let the Blue Jays know they are most welcome here.
Coming to Buffalo this year, everything they've done and the fans pulling for us have been great. Feels like a home game.
The Buffalo fans are actually great. I think we're kind of getting the Bills Mafia a little bit on our side, so they've been great, good baseball fans.
It was incredible. That was an immediate moment that, this could be a hometown advantage for us. We found a second home, and it's Buffalo.
Buffalo, a boom town of the Industrial Revolution, has buildings aplenty that pay homage to its glorious past. Architecture that reveals its pride and ambition. An ambition that included Major League Baseball.
Harry, back in the 1890s, Buffalo was a member of the National League. Then in 1915, they were in the Federal League. But in 1901, they were that close to getting a franchise in the American League, and it went to Boston.
The town has been yearning for a big league team ever since, says local baseball historian Mike Bellani. And now they have it, like a dream come true.
Oh my gosh, it's Major League Baseball. It's the Yankees, it's, Houston. Now Boston's coming in a couple of weeks. It's just been phenomenal.
Buffalo's most famous brush with the majors was a fictional team, the New York Knights. Its star, Roy Hobbs, played by Robert Redford in The Natural. Shot in Buffalo, the old War Memorial Stadium, the perfect venue for a movie that celebrates the magic of the game. We spoke with Bellani alongside what's left of the stadium, what locals call the old rock pile. He had something he wanted to show me.
And they engraved Wonder Boy.
Wow. Hand sanded by Kevin Lester, a local man who crafted the bats for Redford.
This is the first time since '83 that has been out of his house, not in his possession.
Ba-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da, ba-da-da-da.
That I didn't see coming. Yes, Buffalo loves baseball.
This is a treat to be able to see the game, my team here in Buffalo.
It's an amazing opportunity for us to watch, professionals at the top of their game. We've been watching Vlad since he was a Bison.
When they said they were coming back this year and we were going to be able to have a chance to come out and see him play, it's every day is Christmas for me. Can't get any better.
And this thing with the Blue Jays, they know it's not forever. More like a summer romance.
Which is pretty cool for us to kind of forge a piece of history. This is going to be we're going to look back 20 years, and this will be a part of Buffalo history and Blue Jay history.
Something to be treasured, an affair to remember.
So if you're a Western New Yorker, if you're anywhere within driving distance of Buffalo, my gosh, the clock is ticking. The Blue Jays petitioned yesterday the government of Canada to please let us come home to Toronto and the Rogers Centre. at the end of the month.
Hey, Harry, could this open the door for an actual, team in Buffalo now that they see there's such a need for it?
There was a dalliance last time there was Major League expansion, and what the teams went to Denver, and I'm not so sure. They need a bigger metropolitan area.
Well, I like the phrase summer romance. Like, you know what I mean? They can enjoy it while they have it. That was good.
And I got to swing Wonder Boy.
Strike three.
That was a great one, Harry, as always.
Thanks,
buddy.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
As comfort food goes, it's tough to beat a good grilled cheese sandwich. And those classic melty staples of the American diet taste all the better at one Minneapolis restaurant. Harry Smith explains in our Sunday Closer.
A perfectly crafted grilled cheese sandwich is a deliciously deceptive entree. For at All Square in Minneapolis, the sandwich is both lure and lesson.
Why is it called All Square?
We do grilled cheese, it's a part of what we do, but this notion that once you've done your time and paid your debts, you're all square.
Yes, All Square is a social enterprise. Its purpose, says founder Emily Hunt Turner, to truly free the formerly incarcerated by giving them the life and job skills to make it on the outside.
Do you feel like the table is set against them?
We would argue that recidivism rates are as high as they are, not because of an underlying propensity for criminality, but because the doors to prison are really some of the only doors that are actually open once you get out of prison.
Fellows in the program are paid a living wage and taught the kind of people skills we all could use a little more of. Because if you've done time, good luck finding housing or even opening a bank account.
So many doors have been closed and in my face.
Anika Goodluck spent 10 years in and out of the criminal justice system, then was accepted into All Square's one-year program.
I was doing the same stuff over and over, and I was getting the same outcome, jail. This place has showed me a different road, a different way of life.
The coursework and the camaraderie all helped, she says, but therapy that was part of the All Square curriculum for her was key.
Understanding and identifying what I was feeling at the time and working through whatever that was and hearing stuff I didn't want to hear half of the times, but I needed to hear because it was the truth.
Anika has her own catering business now, employs 3 people, and wants to hire 2 more. All Square began with a Kickstarter campaign and has grown because of the diligence of a mission-driven staff, the embrace of the community, and the vision of its founder, a former lawyer who gave up a career for a calling, justice for all.
I always knew that this would be a huge part of my life. What I didn't understand was that this would become, in ways, my family, and thank God I have this family, you know.
Emily thinks All Square is scalable and that people like Anika are proof.
Does prison life look like it's getting smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror?
That's not even in the mirror anymore, so I never want to forget where I was and what it took for me to get out of there, because I don't ever want to go back.
If the Olympics got you craving for a little Japan, Harry Smith's got just what you need. Harry.
Well, you know, I watch Keir Simmons do all these great pieces.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, come on. So we decided what we could find right here in Brooklyn.
Where are we today? Tokyo? Kyoto? No, this Japanese garden, more than 100 years old, is in Brooklyn, the Botanic Gardens, where from time to time you can have tea, the Japanese way.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Japanese tea ceremony today.
Keiko Kitazawa is our guide. The Japanese tea ceremony is centuries old
So let's make a bowl of tea for you.
and can take up to 4 hours.
I'm going to purify all utensils before serving tea.
Okay.
But not this morning.
So now I'm going to add the tea powder.
The ancient ceremony is meant to imbue harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility.
Wow. May I just say,
Yes,
this is not chai from Starbucks.
it is different. Highest quality matcha that we are using.
The tea ceremony puts you in a different place if you let it.
How is this?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Tranquility achieved. Now it's time to eat.
Konnichiwa.
こんにちは。いらっしゃいませ。Welcome to Ichiran.
Thank you.
Ichiran, ubiquitous in Japan, has 3 restaurants in New York, serving one thing.
So we only specialize in pork bone soup ramen.
Period.
Yes.
No sushi, no sashimi, no soba, just ramen.
I think I'm going to be medium with everything.
Safe choices for the first timer. But here's the twist.
For someone you don't want to interact with anyone at all, this is the perfect restaurant for
So
that.
that's what these kind of...
Partitions are for, yes. You
Yeah.
keep them up. The server doesn't have to speak to you if you don't want to. You have your own private space to yourself to enjoy your meal.
Okay.
A ramen restaurant for the recluse.
Thank you.
The ramen is ridiculously delicious. But man cannot live by ramen alone.
We're at Brooklyn Koro. We're a sake brewery based in New York City in Sunset Park, Brooklyn.
Brandon Dawn and Brian Poland met in Japan.
We wandered into a traditional sake brewery, and we were just kind of blown away by the smells and the equipment and the process there.
What are the main ingredients?
It's got steamed rice, it's got Brooklyn water, yeast, and it's got koji, which is a type of fungus that we grow on a portion of the rice. And that's where we get our sugar that then gets turned into alcohol.
Inside the giant tank is where the magic happens.
So this is our Junmai Ginjo, and it's about 2 weeks old, so it's got about another 2 weeks of fermentation.
And from that, remarkably, comes this.
I'm surprised.
All right, in a good way?
It smells like wine.
As a reporter, it would have been irresponsible to try just one.
That's really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. Just out of curiosity, what's the alcohol content?
So this clocks in about 15%, so it's like a strong wine.
It's mighty good. I've had 2 sips. I feel like I'm a little tipsy.
Oh, nice.
Be assured, I wasn't driving that day.
Are Americans ready to have locally brewed sake?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. I mean, you should see this tap room pre-pandemic and starting to be again now. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
And crazy to me that there could be so much Japan in one borough. Kampai.
Oh,
yeah,
love
it was pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, we
pretty
got to go
good.
get some.
Do you know, by the
know.
way, the bonsai garden in at the Brooklyn
Prospect
Botanic
Park.
Garden open again as of
good.
like this weekend. Gorgeous.
Did you bring us some sake or no?
Well, you know, there was so much sake consumed last
That
week.
you forgot.
Well, no, I was told, I think maybe we need to tap the brakes.
Oh,
as it were.
Hi, Today All Day. We've got a great show for you on this Wednesday morning, including an all-day exclusive chat you can only see here. But let's kick it off with Pop Start. Actress Kathryn Hahn will step into the shoes of the one and only Joan Rivers for an upcoming series on Showtime. Plus, we have the first look at the new season of Jay Leno's Garage. Check it out.
What time is it? Best time of the day!
Well, that was fun, the game. It's hard to follow the weather game with you all. You make weather so fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Although first up in Pop Star today, we do have some sad news to report out of Hollywood this morning. Actor Willie Garson, best known for his scene-stealing role on Sex and the City, has died. He was just 57 years old. NBC's Am Thompson has more on his career and how he's being remembered.
How can you not have a shrink? This is Manhattan. Even the shrinks have shrinks.
A beloved character actor for years, Willie Garson was best known for his role on HBO's Sex and the City, where he played Carrie Bradshaw's fast-talking, flamboyant, and famously funny BFF Stanford Blatch.
How many relationships have I been in since you've known me?
Real or imaginary? Small in stature, Garson's lines always delivered big laughs.
Oh my God, she's fashion roadkill.
Garson was reunited with Sarah Jessica Parker to film an upcoming Sex and the City revival series for HBO just a few months ago. Overnight, Sex and the City castmate Cynthia Nixon, who played Miranda, said Garson was endlessly funny on screen and in real life. Mario Cantone, who played Garson's husband on the show, posting that he couldn't have had a more brilliant TV partner, adding, "You were a gift from the gods, sweet Willie." The beloved actor appeared in over 70 films and had more than 300 TV credits throughout his career that began in the mid-'80s.
Did we lose another one? Hey, Phoebes.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Ross.
He was also well known for his longtime role as the con man Mosey on White Collar.
I was never here.
Garson appeared on Today in 2014 and shared his favorite role.
What's the best thing you've ever done? Oh, I think we know.
In my life,
Yes.
I adopted my son.
Awesome.
His heartbroken 20-year-old son Nathan posting photos and video of his dad and thanking him for all of their adventures together. "You were always the toughest and funniest and smartest person I've known. I'm glad you shared your love with me. I'll never forget it or lose it." In one of his last tweets earlier this month, Garson said, "Be kind to each other, always. Love to all." For Today, Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Oh, that's so sad. Feels so bad for his son. So talented and so young. The cause of Willie Garson's passing has not yet been immediately disclosed. Next up, Kathryn Hahn, the actress who was recently nominated for an Emmy thanks to her part in the hit Disney Plus series WandaVision's landed her next big role. She's going to step into the shoes of the one and only Joan Rivers for an upcoming series on Showtime titled The Comeback Girl. It's set to take place in the late 80s following the cancellation of Joan Rivers' late-night talk show, and will tell the story of how the beloved comedian overcame personal and professional hardships that followed that time. A lot of people remember around that time Joan tragically lost her husband, Edgar, but she then went on, of course, and led a career nearly 3 more decades of iconic TV and stand-up until her passing in 2014. Okay, and finally, Jay Leno. The comedian's back with a new season of Jay Leno's Garage, and in tonight's premiere, Jay's joined by fellow late-night host James Corden for a high-speed interview. The Late Late Show host opening up on what it was like moving his family to California when he landed that gig 6 years ago.
When we first moved here, my wife and I, we rented furniture. I wouldn't even allow us to buy a couch because I was like, babe, this show is gonna get cancelled. I'm gonna get fired. And when I get fired, we're gonna wanna get out of here as quick as possible. And the last thing we wanna be trying to do is sell a couch.
Is that an interview in 2 different cars?
Yeah, it's a lot going on there.
I've never seen that. They're not next to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe to show off 2 cars.
James in the convertible.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Season 6 of Jay Leno's Garage premieres tonight at 10 p.m. over on CNBC.
Such a
That
great
is your
show.
Pop Start, ladies and gentlemen.
Up next on Today Talks, Maria Shriver is here with a look at the newest dating trend. Stay with us.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So
It's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Today on the third hour, Maria Shriver spotlights a growing trend in relationships. Older women dating younger men. Check it out.
Well, Maria is hanging out with us this morning, and she has a fascinating look at a growing trend in relationships, older women dating younger men.
Yes, well, there's long been a double standard in age gaps in couples. No one bats an eye when an older man dates a younger woman, but society often judges relationships when the roles are reversed. But now surveys show relationships between older women and younger men are becoming really common. So we sat down with several couples and a dating expert to find out why. It's been called the Mrs. Robinson syndrome, older women going after much younger men. These kinds of couples have been in the Hollywood spotlight for decades, but now experts say they're becoming more mainstream. One survey found 81% of women are open to dating someone 10 years younger than them, and nearly 90% of men are interested in dating someone 10 years older. Matchmaker Julie Spira says she sees it all the time.
Women are now going to be dating like men.
What does that mean, women are now going to be dating like men?
These days, women have the economic power. They've got great careers, so they aren't necessarily looking for somebody to be their equal on a bank statement.
To find out why, we gathered 3 couples whose age differences ranged from 6 years to 16 years to 20 years.
I am 46 years old.
I'm 26 years old.
You may recognize Tracy and her boyfriend Eric from the hit Bravo TV show $1 Million Listing LA. She's a successful real estate agent. He was her personal trainer, and he asked her out. What made you go like, let's go?
The younger girls, they really don't know what they want. They're kind of lost, and then I feel lost, and then I saw her confidence, and I was so attracted by just how she works really hard for what she wants.
Until I met Eric, I went out with a ton of men who were attracted innately to the fact that I was confident, successful, until we were alone. And then it was like, oh, I don't want you to have too much of an opinion. Right. I like the idea of you, but not really.
Teresa and Laquelle also make more money than their partners, Colin and Malik. But they say the emotional support these younger men give them is far more fulfilling than having a financial breadwinner.
The more we continued, I realized that he was providing in a different way.
He's providing in a different way. In what way is he a provider?
Communication. I definitely think he's a better communicator than me. I think this generation, I believe that they're more fearless. They're able to say how they feel in that moment, handle it, and move forward.
You know, I'm not concerned with my woman making more money than me at all.
That doesn't threaten your manhood.
No.
I think the younger generation of men see that being a good partner is like, you know, making sure your woman's fulfilled emotionally and mentally and physically.
These couples say the hardest part is dealing with outside judgments, that their relationships are just about sex or money.
They were kind of thinking like, oh, Colin found a sugar mama. They just think I sit around.
You're a gold digger.
Yeah.
A lot of the judgment actually comes from women. With the movements that have been happening, why now would you choose to judge another woman for embracing her sexuality and her own strength and choosing to date someone younger? That would never be judged by a man dating 30 or 40 years younger.
Do any of you women worry about he's going to wake up and want a girl who's 26?
You know, in the beginning, I think it was definitely a part of our conversation, like, are you going to trade me in for a younger model? And his, answer was, well, you might trade me in for a younger model.
So to some woman who's sitting out there who's in her late 40s, her 50s, her 60s, and who's like going like, what would you say to her?
I say, put yourself out there. Why? The pool is already so small to find the right person for yourself. Why are we making it even smaller? Men don't. Why should women?
One study by the Kinsey Institute found that older women and younger men partners report the highest level of satisfaction of any kind of couple. And these couples really show how gender roles are changing in relationships and becoming more fluid for the better. And they were very confident, these women. And I found them incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, I'm curious, have you interviewed any of the women who have kids who maybe have an issue with their mom dating a younger man?
Yeah, you just heard from her. She has two, Tracy, the real estate agent, she has two teenage daughters, and no issue. They're like, we're happy to see our mom happy. And she points out that, Eric is not trying to be their father. He's actually helping them get in shape. So I think that also confirms, kids want to see their parents happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's certainly what they say. And these women are happy. And they really made me rethink what I thought going into the story, for sure.
Brian is actually 6 years younger than me. And we didn't date at first because I'm like, he's 6 years younger than me. He's like still in college and I'm like in my career. So it all felt weird, that stigma. But then, our friendship just blossomed. And one of those things I noticed, the communication factor, because I'm not that I'm a different generation, but I tend to close off and not talk, and he makes me communicate and talk out your feelings and all that kind of stuff. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, and I love the way the guy was saying that this generation of men see their role in providing in a different way than their fathers. It used to be only there to be a financial provider, and these guys are talking about being emotionally, spiritually, etc.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's really interesting. Thanks, Maria.
Coming up on Hoda and Jenna, the winning looks from our Tuesday vote with special guest Savannah.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts. Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Today on Hoda and Jenna, we reveal our winning outfits from Savannah's closet. Take a look.
Okay, but it is time to reveal the winning looks, our outfits from Tuesday.
Okay, so as a reminder this morning, we've been styled by Savannah. Okay, so she picked all 6 of her outfits from her own closet, which is just like a Tuesday for me.
She's just, by the way, she's like a proud mom off camera, but right? Then she added the finishing touches with jewelry and she did the whole thing.
I feel like she's kind of our mama jerk. Savannah, come on out.
I'm so excited.
You're like
you
a
are
mom.
so
You're like
excited.
a proud stage mom.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Okay.
You look so good.
Okay.
Cute.
Now, what were our choices? Let's remember. Okay, let's look back. All right, so each of us had 3 choices. Those are mine. Mine was the yellow blazer, SG.
That would have been so
that
cute.
floral dress, which I've seen you in, and the cute pantsuit matching.
Yes, I
was
love
like a
that.
pajama top and
Monochromatic.
bottom. Yes.
Okay, and then my looks were sort of the school mom outfit. I believe I've worn that shirt before. And then the Kate McKinnon, we call it the Kate McKinnon suit around here. And then that kind of, this look, number C, looks most like you.
Yeah.
I love that look. That's my
Kinda
favorite.
goth.
That looks
Goth.
like you.
Well, it's like cute and goth. It's not goth, but
It's like school mom on top, goth on the bottom.
like maybe
how
you're
you
like
like.
a rocker mom who's got a tattoo or a piercing.
Okay, well, I don't have a tattoo.
But do you have a tattoo?
No, but I've been wanting to get
Okay,
one.
I know you got lots of piercings. Okay,
Let's go.
shall we?
Okay,
Drum roll,
let's reveal.
please, everybody. And should we get up?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Here we go.
3, 2,
1,
1.
go.
Oh my gosh, you guys look
We
so good.
We're you.
That looks great on
That
the way-
looks so good. You know what? I'm mad. I'm mad at how good that looks on you.
By the way, it feels really good. I have to say, it's cozy, comfy.
Yes.
It feels like a million.
You look incredible.
And you told us to wear rings.
Oh yeah, so then I wanted to style you guys. Okay, so let's show what you have.
Okay.
So Hody, I gave you kind of this like
I
punk
know.
rocker black ring.
You wanted me to put
I wanted
them on
you to
a
have a little like
pointer,
funky.
but you know what I
Well, it
noticed?
doesn't matter. Okay, that's
I
fine.
can't
But I like how you
work,
did it. You had 2 pinky
Okay,
rings.
'cause that's all I
That's
can
cute.
do. Okay.
And then so little black jewels
Little
there
black
for your
jewels.
bracelets, like
Yep.
a little stack.
Yep, I did
And
that.
That was cute. And then I had you in these metallic. I gave you 2 metallic choices.
look at those shoes.
I actually think the other ones were better, but those are more comfy. So
These are super
aren't they
comfy.
cute?
I didn't even
You could run a
unsnap strap
marathon.
on
By the way,
those.
she may keep those just like your red boots.
Oh, I still have your red boots.
What? I don't
rain
even remember
boots.
what red.
You'll
Oh,
love
those. I need those.
I know, and they're
it's raining
awesome.
today.
Okay, let's talk about
Okay, let's look at cute Jenna.
Jenna,
Oh,
you
this
look
is
by the
so.
way, this looks
But
so
this
good.
is something that Savannah wears so much that I kind of feel like I'm her. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm
you
like
guys
Savannah
look.
for
I wouldn't wish
Halloween.
that on my worst
no,
enemy.
That's ridiculous.
You look so cute. Okay, so your style. First of all, you've got the little barrettes.
That's
Show
what she
these,
does.
which is cute.
She
I
likes
actually
the
just think
barrette.
this guy needs to come in a little bit more.
yeah.
Okay, I don't want to mess with that. Okay, that's so cute.
Okay.
And then you have the clunky heels, which
Can I ask you
love.
a real question?
Yeah.
How do you wear this and
how
not get
do you wear it?
distracted?
Yeah.
It's a pain, so you don't see me wear it that much. But isn't it cool? It's a spine. It's a vertebra.
Oh, that's very
Yeah, and then I gave you a pinky ring.
By the way, I love the top. I
top is
love
cute,
the
right?
whole
You guys look
outfit.
so pretty.
It's so fun that you style this.
You're like my paper dolls.
And also the fact that you have such a style, we look like you. We don't
you
have that.
actually have a unique style that's you.
Gothy.
We don't.
Goth.
Not really. I have a style. I'm like a wannabe.
Goth school
Okay.
mom.
Well, you guys carry on with the
Thank
show.
you.
You
Thank
look
you,
so cute.
Mama
I'm so
Jerk.
proud
Thank
of
you,
you.
Mom.
You guys are absolutely beautiful.
We'll return most things.
Yeah,
Okay.
not the ring.
Yeah. Well, I'll be waiting in the side door for it to get the back.
Okay. That was fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah, that was
It is
cute.
funny when you get dressed like somebody you kind of feel
I know.
like them.
Yes, you
and
do.
Not yourself. Like I'm
But
like,
you
am I
wear a lot
Savannah
of
for
SG's
Halloween?
clothes. You do.
I do, but I don't put on like the
whole
look.
outfit.
I have 2 mixed earrings, by the way. Nobody even mentioned that.
Oh yeah, you have 1 and 1. Oh yeah, cute.
That's
you have
not
a lot
something
of
I would-
piercings. It's cute though. Wait, let me see the other one.
2 different earrings. Not something I would
Do
normally
people do that?
Well, I think Savannah does.
She does that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It is the first day of fall, and as you guys know, 3 o'clock, it hits 3:21, and routines have started, and sometimes you feel a little worn out from the routines of life.
September is crazy. Like, we kind of have forgotten how September feels because it's back to school, back to work.
But I think they're like habits that you have that might grind you down. You don't even realize you're doing them, but you're exhausted. And you're like, why am I exhausted?
Yeah, so
from whatever. But HuffPost compiled.
but no matter what, we're just tired, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we are. But these may be why we are. So let's reveal some of the secretly exhausting habits.
Yeah, okay, so here they are. First, watching emotionally charged television shows. Experts say that empathizing
Empathizing.
with a lead character can be really hard.
So you go to sleep after watching something, you feel bad, and then you wake up fatigued. Why am I exhausted? Because the last thing I put into my system was that. All right, another one, working at a messy desk, cluttered environments are really distracting. Don't side-eye me.
It's a full face. It's a full face. I'm just wondering,
Yeah, I know. Actually, I get to a point where I am like, I've had it up to here with my own
Tomorrow
mess.
morning, can I just kind of
Maybe.
clean up
Yeah,
there?
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Planning too far in advance. This is so true.
Yeah.
They say that if you leave a little flexibility, if you're so like, okay, here's this, and now we have this, and then we have this, it's hard to live in the moment.
You're right, because you're scheduled to death. And then having too many apps open on your computer or your phone. And mine, the thing that exhausts me is all the things I lose and how much time I have to spend finding them.
Yes.
I'm tired at the end of trying to find things that I've lost all day.
You know, the panic of like, where is this? I need it right now.
I know. You know what they always say, rule of thumb? It's 9 times out of 10, it's in the first place you looked, but you were so frantic that you didn't see it, because that's what I've realized for me.
You've been dropping some really important information I've never heard before.
Wait, by the way, Maria Shriver's going to be here. She's going to drop some great truth bombs on us.
We can't wait. We need it.
You know what we love? We love when our dear friend Maria Shriver stops by. We are going to talk to her a little bit about the reason that she's here. She came to do a piece on why women sometimes fight losing weight, but it's more about that.
We wanted to just check
We just wanted to visit.
Hi. I'm so happy. I've had so many hugs this morning, more hugs than I've had in the last year and a half. So I'm so happy to be back, to see you both, to be in the studio. I left here, and then 2 days later, the whole place closed
just
down. Shut down.
Now, some people spent this time feeling certain ways, and I feel like you spent this time learning stuff. And every time you come in, we're like, what can we learn?
I learned how to become a grandmother.
Yes.
That's been a big learning curve and been fascinating and made me remember kind of having little children around, because all my kids are no longer kids, they're adults. So I'm kind of understanding what it means to be a grandmother, when I should step in, when I should step out, when my opinion is needed, when I should shut up.
Is that hard to do?
Well, it's definitely new. It's definitely new.
Yeah.
So, but it's awesome because Lila Maria, which is my granddaughter's name, she just, when I walk in the room, she vibrates. I was telling my brother, I said, it's so good for my self-esteem, because she just vibrates. She's so exciting. And imagine if people were like that when you walked in. And so the next day he came over and he goes, Maria, and he started going. I said, what happened? Are you all right? He goes, I'm just trying to show you excitement when I walk in the room.
They say that my mom said there was something almost evolutionary about watching your daughter become a mom. You couldn't help but marvel. Is that how you feel?
Total. I mean, when she had her baby, I was sobbing hysterically, uncontrollably. Didn't even, it just erupted. And then to watch her with her husband, to watch all my kids step into the role of aunt and uncle, and how this one person has kind of, her effect on the whole family is really such a beautiful thing.
Today Talks continues after the break, and we have an exclusive chat you can only see here on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love
it! For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today Talks and our exclusive content you can only see here on Today All Day. Today was a big day.
Today was a great day. You know, it's so funny because neither of us have seen Maria Shriver in 18 months. And And when she walked in, first of all, Eddie, he's the guy who picks me up and drives me here in the morning. He picked up Maria yesterday, and he told me in great detail exactly what it felt like for him to pick her up. He said he knew she was coming. He loves Maria. He was waiting in his car. He said his heart was pounding. He said when you know, like you feel like you're a kid and you're about to see someone you haven't seen in so long. He said he saw her coming. He said it was like a movie. He goes, I hopped out of the car. She ran to him, like she does. He said, Hoda, I held on so tight for so long. I haven't seen her in so long because Maria is a healer.
Yeah.
She comes to make everybody feel a little better, help them out with their stuff, sort out all their business, which is what she did for us.
I mean, she sat during the commercial break and we both were like just leaning in. But for you, she's one of your best friends too. I mean, I think she's one of my best friends, but it's sort of like Reese Witherspoon. For you, it's real. Like, what did that feel like?
First of all, I just adore her. She has taken my life when it has been just off balance and righted the ship. She just did it 2 weeks ago. I was like in this place where you're like, everything is upside down.
Yeah.
And suddenly we had a conversation, and it just shows you how important it is to have someone who you can say, look, I don't feel like I'm in the right, like I don't know what is happening, but I don't feel right. And she doesn't make you feel less than. She doesn't make you feel like you're messing your life up. She's just like, okay, well, and what she was describing when she was here too about your platter and making sure your priorities straight, even that exercise reminds you of like, wait, let me get back to who I am. And I'm not going to add without subtracting. I'm not going to pile on without moving things off.
You know what I think? She's so, I mean, because I feel the same way. She said things to me where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is enlightening. She's changed my life.
Yes.
But one of the things that I loved about that exercise, and I think particularly right now for all of us, and maybe particularly for some of us that are real quick
to make a
to
decision.
do everything, is like maybe take a second. Like I feel like we keep talking about that. Like what's wrong with just taking a minute and that maybe that's before you fire off that email or a text to somebody that's, you know, there's something and my instinct is to write right back, to get right back. It's like, what's wrong with just waiting a moment?
And also evaluating, like taking a second and saying, because in my heart, I want to do that thing.
Yeah.
It sounds fun and interesting. And so you're thinking, oh, I'd gain from it. However, when you look at your life and how crowded it is, does that mean it's going to be another night or another day that is gone and dedicated to work?
Yeah.
And I think work's important, but she has a good sense, and I'm trying to get that sense too, of like she said now, who's going to be with you at the end?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah.
I mean, we all love our jobs and we have great places that we work and we're really happy. But when it comes to the end of the day, what if you would have missed something that was really, really important to you for another interview that you would have forgotten about, you know, down the road? And I used to say yes to everything at work. Like my career rode sidecar for so many years.
Yeah.
And maybe it needed to be that way, but now I've kind of had a chance to sort of reevaluate.
And think about what really fills you up. That platter exercise is amazing.
I think it's good. All the things that are important to you or that require your love, attention, and time, put them on a platter, make them in sync with how much time and energy and love you put into it. Your family, your husband, your job, your exercise, your commuting, your
and
church.
I think the other thing, and Maria and another person that you and I both love, Christine, have said every time you do something, like I went and shot something last night and I left and I was like, this is why I do what I do. Like having you to ask yourself, do I feel full or do I feel depleted? And you may feel tired, but do
there's
you
a
feel
difference.
energized?
Yeah.
And if that answer is yes,
that's a good exercise.
Keep it going.
I didn't know that. Thank you for that truth bomb. That's a good one.
Oh, good. I'm glad we can drop some.
That's it for this episode of Today Talks. Keep watching. We have more of Today All Day.
Hey guys, thanks for doing this. So good to see you.
You too, man. This is awesome, dude. Look at this vibe we got here.
This is sort of your vibe, matches the shirt, Dan. Like, we've got it all going on for you here.
It's intentional, man. It's perfect. Thanks for having us, man. It's good to see you.
I want people to know that you guys are in the middle of rehearsals for the tour, and you flew here to New York, flying right back to Nashville to do this, so I cannot thank you enough. That's one part of it. Number two, I'm going to put the temperature at 103 in this greenhouse right now.
It's not the heat that gets you.
You know, it's the humidity. It's what they say. I read it in a book somewhere.
So I want to thank you doubly for doing this.
Of course.
So Dan, tell me how rehearsals are going. I mean, you were out on tour for 3 shows, March of 2020. You're selling out Bridgestone in Nashville. It's about to explode. And then boom, everything stops.
It's so crazy, man. I mean, you never expect that to happen. We work our entire lives for this. You know, it's a dream to get to the level. I mean, it's just such rarefied air to get to the place where we can do an arena tour. You know, we've had such great support from everyone around us, our team, our families, our friends, our fans, and you get there, we get a taste of it. Like, we're all in. I mean, we're looking at MSGs sold out, all these amazing bucket list venues. And all at once, I mean, the entire world shuts down. And it was just, it got to our heads a little bit, man. You know, I think everybody, I speak for the music industry when I say it's like, we were all looking around like, do we still have a career? Are we going to be able to do this? You know, and I think the first couple weeks were sort of shell shock. I remember a lot of pacing around my yard, like just pulling weeds, doing all kinds of like odd jobs, landscaping, you know, trying to stay busy. And then I think, you know, after a few weeks of that, it was like, man, this is a crazy opportunity that we have. There's, you know, blessing in disguise, silver lining, not being on the road for a year and a half. Like, let's make the most of it. So we made an album, and now here we are a year and a half later, like with a new album out to the fans. A couple singles that have gone up the chart, gone to #1 that we've not gotten to play live a single time, which is like, that's the craziest thing in the world. Because usually when you have a #1 song or you've got a song at the top of the charts, you're out there feeling it. It's a tangible energy from the fans singing it back to you every night. But it's like, do people actually know this song? Is it, I don't know, is somebody playing a prank on us? But here we are in rehearsals, man, and it's going amazing. We're working new songs into the set, and I think, you know, speaking to our artist friends, speaking to everybody, crew, folks out there on the road, it's like the energy is high. Fans are ready for it. We've waited long enough. And I think, you know, I think it just causes us to appreciate the moments a little bit more. You know, usually those rehearsal days are grueling. You know, you're in there at 7 a.m., you're working till past 7 p.m. It's just long, long days. But I think we're all looking around, enjoying it a little bit more, appreciating, you know, the people, the friends that we get to spend the time with. And then it's all that much more worthwhile when we get out there and feel it on stage, man. We've gotten a few shows under our belts this summer, and it's like, I get goosebumps even thinking about it. It's crazy.
I had a baby, our youngest, Ames. He was born 2 weeks before our Bridgestone shows, which was just kind of a wild thing anyway, and was kind of preparing myself to, you know, see what that looks like, having a young child on the road. And that was the one big blessing in disguise for me and my family, was just being able to actually be there. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of, I'm sure if we look, we can find a lot of positives. But at that point, it was just like, man, this is really a terrible situation for everybody. And you know, as the time went on, I think it was a learning curve of everyone just being like, okay, we're in this. We have to figure this out and kind of settle in together. And there was a lot of time. I think the biggest helps were just the community that we have there in Nashville, and being able to talk, and the technology that we had. You know, being able to get on Zoom or whatever it was, and to be able to still write songs and to be able to kind of help each other cope, I think. And, you know, Dan and I were always constantly texting of, you know, what's going on? What are you doing?
300 days to our next show. Are you ready? Yeah, man, I'm prepared.
You know, a lot of people, it was like, you know, working remotely, and a lot of people were figuring that out and what that looked like with their jobs. And we're just kind of like, we don't have anything else besides this. You know, we can't get out on the road right now. We are forced to be in our homes. And for us, that was a difficult challenge, because we're so used to go. And we're, you know, preparing for tour and always kind of thinking about tour and can't wait to get out to our fans. And that was just like, all right, you have to wait and you have to take this time. And at first it was hard, but I feel like we definitely grew a lot in that moment. And I think we appreciated moments from our past even that we had never truly gotten to appreciate. You know, Dan and I would sit down and have talks for, you know, an hour of just being like, man, we do need to appreciate, you know, what we've already gotten to do, because we are the luckiest guys in the world to have ever been given this opportunity. Because just to say that we were about to do arenas and then it was pulled out from under us, just being able to say that is incredible. And realizing that there is, you know, you need to find the positive in that of, you know, thank God that we got here. You know, we actually made it, and we're able to sell out these arenas, and the people want to come see us, and that in itself is a huge blessing. And just very thankful to the, you know, community that we had around us and our friends and our family for helping us get through that and figure out what life was going to look like in those moments in this last year and a half. And I think Dan and I maybe took like 2 months off of quarantining ourselves, and then we got back together, and it was, I think that first song we wrote was I Should Probably Go to Bed, and that was just kind of where it started right there.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
You guys were very productive. Okay, we're down now, we got to do something. So you dig in on this album. You already had a couple songs written and done, as you say. But what was that process like different from what it had been like in the past? You've been writing songs together for 9, almost 10 years, I guess. What was it like over Zoom? Is the process different? I mean, I think you're used to being in a room together, playing and working it out. What was it like to put good things together?
Yeah, man, there's nothing quite like the camaraderie, being in the room with your friends, feeling that energy. You get on an idea or a song or you write a chorus and everybody's like jumping up and down. But, you know, it was a learning curve at first to get on, you know, on a FaceTime or a Zoom and try to write a song. But I feel like it was good for us. I feel like it caused us to go back to the basics, how we used to write songs, just sitting there with a pen and paper and an acoustic guitar and really diving in deep on the idea. Because on Zoom, it's like only one person's talking at once, you know, and one person's face pops up on the camera. So whenever you got an idea, you had to really bring it, you know. It was like all eyes on you versus being in a room. People are talking, there's music playing, it's, you know, it's high energy. You can get away with saying something you might not.
Yeah. No, people just don't really react.
Exactly.
Like, okay, that one didn't land, but it's like just you on the FaceTime and no one says something. It's pretty embarrassing.
You got to gather your thoughts, man. So everybody was bringing their A game, and man, I feel like we tapped into some of our best material just doing that. I mean, we were in our own world. You could put everybody on mute and kind of just dive in and focus on your own and be in your own space, and I think it was cool. And it was then for us when we made the album, when we recorded it, you know, luckily we've kind of always done that, just on my laptop, for better or for worse. I apologize to the fans out there. I wish you guys would do it more pro. It's like, man, we just always did demos on my laptop, and that's kind of how we first got going. We were just two guys who loved country music, moved to Nashville. We wanted to write country music, whatever that looked like, whether it was for ourselves or for other artists, and we just did these demos, you know, whatever, playing whatever we could, just whatever guitar had a couple strings on it, and we would put a demo down, and then, you know, we started walking around town, and people are like, we like these songs. Do you ever think about putting them out? And we're like, I mean, maybe, I guess. Do you have a band name? I guess Dan and Shay, you know, and that's kind of how that came about. But I think the fact that we had done that for so long gave us an advantage in this time where we could just kind of camp out in the guest bedroom in my house. I had a mattress. I got videos of it on my phone. You know, it's like mattress leaning against the wall. You know, I'm pulling dog blankets, you know, out of the closet, laying them on the floor. Hey, Shay, can you hold this pillow over your head?
Gotta get the perfect acoustic, you know.
You would think at this point in our career, 4 albums in, I was like, I should get a proper studio.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
I got the best singer in the world here, and he's like, you know, having to hold a pillow over his head to reflect the sound. So it was funny, man. Some good behind the scenes content on that. But I think the fact that it's just the two of us in the room, I mean, putting our stamp on it, I think that, you know, by the time it gets to the fans, they feel it, it's genuine, it's authentic, and it's us. You know, it's nobody telling us what we should sound like, what we should say, what we should do. Whenever it gets to the fans, I feel like that's why these fans have connected with this album. I mean, it's just, we left no stone unturned, man. We tried everything. You know, our fans deserve that. The people who have gotten us here, deserve that from us. It was like, if we had an idea, we thought it was good, how do we make it great? How do we flip that idea on its head, or take the production, which may have been this direction or may have been this style, and change it up a million times until we know that it's right. So I think, having all this time on our hands was just a bit of a silver lining to all of it. We really got to try everything, and it felt like making a first album again. It's like they say you have your whole life to make your first album, then you got about 2 weeks to make every album after that.
Right.
So it was like we never thought we would get that time to dig in again, and we did. And I feel like, the music, we're so proud of it, man. It's I think it's reflective of all the time that we spent on it.
And you guys had such success with your last album 3 years ago with Tequila and Speechless and all the hits that came off that. As you sat down for this album, did you feel like, okay, we got some pressure on us now? People are gonna be waiting to see what we do next. Can we live up to that incredible monster hit?
Absolutely. I'd like to say, no, man, we didn't really even think about it at all. Yeah. It was like, that's definitely staring you in the face.
Yeah.
When you have it. It's crazy to think that it has been 3 years, which I feel like in our minds, the last year and a half was kind of, we'll say 2 years since the record, because that was a long time.
It's an asterisk.
Yeah, it was an asterisk. But it was, there definitely was pressure, but it was good pressure. I feel like the more that you build your career, and I think that has to be the standard. That has to be the bar that you reach for. You're not always going to have the Tequilas and the Speechless songs or the 10,000 hours, but our fans have continued to help us grow, and we try to listen to them. Being out on the road helps a ton, which is why this last year and a half was very difficult, because you're out there, you're playing songs. We didn't get to play I Should Probably Go to Bed after it went #1. We still haven't gotten to do that at our show yet, and that was a crazy thing, because you can feel the songs reacting as you're playing them live. You can feel it as it's going up the chart. There's a direct correlation between what's going on kind of, on the radio and just overall all the socials. You can feel it kind of in that moment. So it was definitely a bar as we were trying to reach, and we'd had, I guess, 3 #1 singles off this record already, which was, as we were writing it, we had, I guess, 2, at that point, and it was like, man, we really have to make sure that we're bringing our A game, because if you don't, these are gonna be standouts. It's like, yeah, they had a couple hits on there, and then it seems like they might have quit halfway through. I'm not really sure what happened there, but it was it was a good process, because I feel like everyone felt the pressure in a good way. It was more of an excitement of like, all right, we have, not having a bar would be a worse situation of like, all right, we have to figure out what a hit song sounds like. We have to figure out what our fans are going to like, and we had that bar that we could reach for, which is a huge help. I think when you're writing an album, we can look at and know what our fans are going to want to hear, and then kind of just be able to be genuine with it of like, all right, let's just kind of shoot for the stars on this and do everything possible that we can do. And luckily, unlike our last albums, since I guess the first one, we had the time to do that. Like Dan said, you don't have the time to truly put together, an album like that. And there's so much that goes into it that people don't think about. And we were on the road and trying to prepare for that and making a good show. And there's so many, and we're very hands-on with that. So we're like trying to design a stage and design, a tour and everything. So we never really had time to truly dive into an album. So this was a very welcome, I guess it wasn't so welcome. We obviously did not want to go off the road, but it was a nice surprise to be able to have, the time to be able to work on that and really dig in. And Dan could spend 2 months on a kick drum sound and EQing one little sound. And we could do that with the songwriting process as well. And that was it was a lot of fun, because it did remind me of kind of those early years whenever we weren't trying to think too much into or trying to get in there and write great music, you know, something that we connected with. Because I think at the core of it, you know, songs that your fans are going to like. I think from those early years, we weren't thinking about like, okay, what are we gonna, we're just writing stuff that we love. Right. And we're just like, we love this. We were bumping it in my car and like blowing out the speakers in my Jeep at, 2 in the morning and just so excited about these songs that we had created and the magic that had happened since we got together. And I feel like that really translated on our first record and kind of continued, that. And we're able to do that, especially on this record, of just being able to sit down and kind of tell stories and talk with our co-writers and really dig into those songs and make sure that it was purposeful and not just, all right, we're gonna try to do an album now, we got a month, here we go. And so we were able to really dig in on that and just make sure that everything was genuine in us. And it was a very, very fun process. And hopefully we don't have that much time again before we go out on the road, but it was a pretty awesome process for sure.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
So, Dan, you produced this Good Things, this record, right? And I understand you've got a checklist.
Oh, yeah.
As you go through, like, this is how we're going to make a great song. So what is your process when you're producing a record?
Man, my brain is all over the place. It's like, social media, it's the live show, it's this, it's that, and I think, for my mental health, like checklists have really helped me. And even as just mundane tasks, like I know I'm going to make a coffee first thing in the morning. I know I'm going to make the bed. No, I'm going to go for a run. So I put those things on the checklist every day. It's a little redundant, but when I check those off, at the end of the day, I can look back and be like, maybe I did accomplish something, because I think you can get caught in that cycle when you're making a record. You're just spending a lot of time on one thing, EQing a guitar, or dialing a drum sound, whatever it may be. And you look back on the day and you're like, I didn't accomplish anything. And then you get in your own brain and you feel like you've slowed the process. But having that checklist, gives me just an objective thing to work towards every day. And I just went old school, man, analog, like how records were made back in the day. You had the board and it was like drums, bass, guitars, acoustics, piano, lead vocals, background vocals, and all those things. I think it allowed me to simplify the album process a little bit, because it's daunting to make an album. It's a lot of work. Not only us, but our entire team. It's like there's album art, there's all these different platforms. You have to deliver something different to everybody, and it's great. It means the music's getting out there, and it's nice that there are enough fans out there that are demanding the music, that we have, that we can put different versions of songs and different videos out to different folks. But it's a lot of stuff. So I think at the beginning of the process, it was like, all right, cool, let's keep the focus, let's draw this out. And I as it started going, as I was like checking away drums, all right, we're making progress here. We almost have an album. And it was it was such a good feeling, man. It's never done. I know anything in the creative process, it's hard to say it's like it's done. I always tell this story, but we had a song from the ground up on our second album. Song was released before the album came out. It went #1, country radio, it was like double platinum, did its thing. There were still like 5 little tweaks that I heard in there. I was like, it drives me crazy. So every time it would come on the radio, no one would ever hear it. It was like a little, like the smallest little edit in a breath and a vocal. I was like, it always drove me crazy. If I was in the car, I'd be, hey man, what's up? It's driving, man.
I'm like, dude, no one hears that. I could try to find. If you told me, find the things that bug me for $1 million, I'd be like, I guess I'm not getting.
Honestly, when you're so deep in it, it drives you crazy. But now I could probably not even go back and find those things. You get far enough disconnected from it, and you forget about it. But that I went back after the album, or after the song had gone #1, and I changed those things. So I got it right on the album. So I felt good about that. It was a sigh of relief.
So you're a perfectionist?
Yes, to a fault.
I'd say
to a fault.
Shay, do you have a checklist too, or you just get in and let it rip with your
my
vocals?
checklist, I did it for about a day, and then I realized that it was making me feel worse about the things that I wasn't doing. Because there's just like one thing, it's just like get up, I was like, well, I kind of did that. I was staying in bed with the kids for like an hour.
If I could sing like this guy, I wouldn't need a checklist.
What Dan didn't know about his checklist is I'd sneak in there every other day and I'd just erase one little thing. Yeah, it was. I didn't know that. Venmo share, like
I haven't done that. Okay.
That's why he has to follow all the things on the boards. I just sneak things in there.
Totally.
Like,
it would probably work.
It would probably
I must
work.
have written this. Okay.
No, but I haven't done the checklist thing, but I do, I try to mentally do those things. I think it's a very good thing. Dan he does a lot more things than I do. And so like, it would just not feel as good for my checklist. I'm like, got up with the kids, heard screaming for an hour and a half, like ate breakfast kind of at 11, But no, it's awesome. And I love being able to see the process too. For him, it's like watching that from, the outside perspective of, when we sing the vocals and as the process is happening, I was going over to his house a lot. And I mean, every time I'd go back and this guy, I mean, it's like, the thing was just filling up, and I was like, "We're gonna do this, dude! Like it's gonna get done." And it was a really cool thing to see, and I feel like the checklist thing has definitely been a nice process to watch.
Yeah,
from the outside, for sure.
It was like not fully committal though. It was a dry erase, so at any point I could be like,
"Wipe it off."
No, the drums aren't right. Next time I need to like do it in permanent ink or something.
Get you a Sharpie.
You still have that, right? You still have
still rocking. Yeah.
And I was like, you have to put something over that. Like it would be so easy for someone to trip, and then that part of history is gone forever. And a dry erase board.
It got tricky with the dry erase board. You like smudge it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was hovering. Some of the X's on the board are a little sloppy. So I got to redo those ones, make those more perfect.
This is the perfectionist.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
It's so interesting to hear you guys say that this process for this album was like going back to the beginning, because I don't know if everybody knows, your fans do, but everybody knows your origin story, we'll call it, which is this now famous meeting at a house party in December of 2012 in Nashville, and then going back to your house where there was like a fort of some kind in the living room.
It's probably a better way to put it.
Like whatever that was. So what do you remember about that night, Dan, that really led to all this?
It's just the 10-year, it's been 10 years since I moved to Nashville, which is crazy. Time flies. But I mean, moved to Nashville, loved country music, had a dream, didn't have any money to my name, graduated college, all my friends went off and they were working jobs, making great livings, establishing a career. And I'm like, I'm gonna go try to write songs, and I had no money. It was like, found this house, had a buddy that I knew through a mutual friend who ended up becoming one of our best friends. And I think he wrote 4 songs on this album, so we've stayed friends ever since. And man, it was just anything we could do to get by. And we had this house, we found it was like $100 a month in rent, which I don't know, you can't even get a meal for that.
I'm sure I lived in that neighborhood at some point.
Yeah, Berry Hill, man. Which Berry Hill, 10 years later, has come up.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Cool restaurants, cool bars. Sure. Not at the time.
Not 10 years
ago. It was
ago.
a little suspect.
Yeah.
But found this house, and the heat didn't work, the AC didn't work, the locks didn't work on the doors, like a folded plexiglass thing you could reach in. That's all you've got in the house.
It is, but the keg in the back worked.
There was a keg that somebody left over, probably a previous tenant. Keg of PBR, it was probably growing things on the surface, but hey, we were drinking it anyway.
You had the important things covered.
Exactly.
The important things were definitely good. I think the first time, so I came in, my friend Andrew, that I think I was living with actually at the time, I think I was staying on his couch, my buddy Brandon's couch. We all lived kind of together in this thing, and he was like, there's these 2 guys that are they're having a house party tonight, mutual friends of Dan and our friend Andy, who was talking about earlier. And he was like, let's go to this house party. He's like, they got a house over here in Berry Hill, and they have a keg. And I'm like, I'm in. I didn't even need to know the details. I was like, I don't need to know their character. Like, they have a keg. Like, I'm down. Let's go. And none of us had any money. It was like anytime there were going to be free drinks involved, we're like, I think we should really seize the moment here, guys. I think we need to do this. Sure, we haven't slept in a week. Let's go to this party. And it was crazy. I walked in, and I remember getting to the house thinking, I don't know if I'm in the right house or not, because I got to the front door, and the door was kind of like locked. And so I reached inside. The window was kind of did like this. And I reached in there, and I was like, this is either going to be a great time, or I'm breaking and entering, and I'm going to jail. And at that point for the keg, I was willing to risk it all, really. And I was like, I'm going in. And so we went in there, and I remember, Dan and Andy and our guitar player now, Justin, was there at this party. And it was just it was a great time. I think we ended up staying up till probably 2 a.m. And there was a moment where everybody was passing around the guitar and kind of playing their songs. And I was like, I'd like to take a crack at that.
You wouldn't believe it. This guy hadn't said a word the entire night.
I was too busy back at the keg.
He's completely quiet, and everybody's passing the guitar around Nashville style in this tent. We overlooked that detail.
Yes, that's right.
The tent is in the living room.
Dude, I mean, we went to this place called Music City Thrift, just down the road from where we live. We bought like $6 worth of sheets. We tented it out. I mean, that was the only way we could stay warm. We had a little space heater. We huddled around it, and wrote songs, whatever it took. And when he walked into the tent, he's completely quiet, like chilling, like this shy little guy hanging out.
Shy guy.
Yeah. Which I found out later is not the case. We're all singing, and then it's like 2 a.m. He's like, can I try one? And he starts singing, and I was like, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. It was the best singer I ever heard in my life. Pulled out my phone. I still have the voice memo of this, and I like held it up. I didn't know what would come of this. I didn't never expect to be sitting here talking to you in New York City and all these crazy accolades behind us. But I recorded him. I was like, and I labeled it best singer ever. It was December 7th, 2012.
Wow.
Still, he was doing a cover, and the next day I was just like, we need to write songs. Like, we had both been chasing this dream separately, obviously without much success. We wrote the next morning. I think it was like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I think we were still up from the night before.
Yeah. I would say the next day, but I think it was that morning.
Yeah, it was the same day. Probably a better way to describe it. We wrote 2 songs that day, and honestly, we haven't stopped. It was insane. I mean, the first song we wrote got put on hold by a major artist, and it was like, man, up to that point, we couldn't get anyone to respond to an email or take a meeting with us. We were sneaking into the CMT Awards. We were doing all this madness, and then from there, it was just like it happened. It was like it was meant to be. And one of the craziest stories about this is we didn't realize this till like a few weeks after we met. Shay had lived in Pittsburgh, like, I don't know, less than a mile from where I grew up. We didn't know each other.
Oh, wow.
You went up there.
Pretty insane, man. I mean, it was like, I was describing like where I was like, I lived in Pittsburgh for a second. He was like,
where at?
Well, where at? And I was like, well, I was over here. It was like near Allison Park and all these places. And he was just like, yeah. He's like, that's where I grew up, like a mile. And it was just kind of a crazy like.
And how long were you there?
I was there for about a year.
Okay.
About a year or a year and a half. Honestly, I'm not great with time nowadays. Really. Could have been 7 years. I don't know. But I was there for about a year, and I just remembered like discovering that and thinking like, wow, we were probably there at the same time. And you think about those things, man. You look back and you're just like, those moments, thinking back to that house party, you never think that those are the moments that are going to kind of change your life. I mean, if there was one pivotal moment, I mean, that was it. Meeting Dan there in that house party, and I was just thinking that I was going to go for some free beer.
So the moral of the story is always go to the party.
Yes,
if there's free beer,
go to the party. If you're in Nashville, you got to go.
Your life philosophy really paid off.
It did.
Okay, last question before I get you out of the greenhouse. Was there ever any consideration at the beginning of being Shay and Dan rather than Dan and Shay?
Dude, it's a great question. I don't know how the name came about. It was always just like, we never set out to be a band. We were just 2 best friends writing songs. We would walk into a place like a publishing, somewhere that we were trying to get a free meal. Hey man, you want to take us out for lunch or a beer? Oh yeah, you've got a company card. Let's go.
Dan and Shay are here.
Dan and Shay are here. It was just like, that was the way it went. But now that I analyze it in reverse, it was like, maybe it was because if it was Shay and Dan, the word "and" ends with a D, and then Dan starts with a D. So there's a little bit of gray area due to Shay and Dan. You gotta it's a little more difficult to say. It doesn't roll off the tongue as much, having the D of and the D of Dan back to back.
We have a whole chart written out if you
really
want to see
thought
it.
about
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We really dove into this. He's got another
checklist.
Yeah, he's got another checklist. On the other side of that is a reasoning. It also, Shay and Dan just sounds a little silly. I think it's a...
See, exactly. You tied the 2 letters, the
Shay
2
and
D's
Dan.
there together. Shay and Dan.
You're right.
Basically, like, because Shenandoah was already a band. So Dan and Shay was. Everyone just called us Dan and Shay, and it was just kind of went from there. And also we had a couple band names that were absolutely atrocious that we will not talk about in front of the country, Willie.
Come on.
And
Come on,
there was,
just
I'll
one
say
of them.
one because it wasn't our idea. My lawyer one time, like early on, we did this showcase thing, and he wrote down this thing thinking like, had an aha moment of like, guys, you might want to get over here because this is about to be.
It took him 10
life-changing.
minutes to type it on his iPad.
It was kind of a peck situation where like, and he clearly, I mean, it looked like he was writing a 1,000-page document, and he was just writing this thing out, and he has this big reveal, and he kind of does this with the iPad, and we're sitting there, we're like, oh, like things are about to heat up, dude. This is our future. Welcome, you know. And he flips it around and it says, "School's out." And Dan and I, we're just like, you know, I mean, you should have seen the look on our faces. We didn't know how to react.
That's crazy.
He was, so "School's out" did not make the cut.
Dan and Shay, history was made. That's
right.
great. Guys, thank you so much for doing this and for coming all the way from Nashville and sitting here with us on a hot summer day. You're the best.
Thank you for taking the time, man.
This is a blessing.
Anytime a recipe gets passed down from generation to generation, you know it's got to be real good. And as we take aim to make your life easier this week, we are going to share that specific recipe with you.
Okay, it is a roasted chicken and rice dish. It's been passed down from a mother to her son, and that son just happens to be a Michelin-starred chef. That chef is at his restaurant, Veranda, right here in New York City, Chef George Mendes. Hey, George.
George.
Hi.
How
Good
are
to see you again.
We're so happy
Live
to see
from Veranda.
you.
I love that.
Oh my God,
I know,
sorry.
Veranda's close to my neighborhood. I gotta come visit.
Yeah, definitely.
Get in here.
Let's talk about your mom's recipe, okay? Because a recipe has to be this good to be passed down. What is it about this specific one?
These are flavors that I grew up with in my childhood. My mother used to cook rice dishes for my sister and my dad a number of times a week. Sometimes it was chicken, sometimes it was rabbit, sometimes it was a tomato rice. So that cooking has had an enormous impact in my career. So, you know, she spent time with the kitchen with me at many of my restaurants here at Veranda, and she's an enormous inspiration for everything that I cook with and create. Very, really rustic childhood, home-style flavors.
Yeah, and I think chicken and rice sounds like the perfect dish for us to cook tonight. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Tell us what we need to cook.
So I am on the over medium heat. I have a cast iron skillet, oven-proof, olive oil, onions, garlic. Right, a pinch of salt right away to get things started. Salt starts to release the moisture, starts to develop that base of flavor. And then I'm going to get paprika going in there, and some sweet peppers. Great from the farmer's market right now this time of the year. Please visit your local farmer's market. More olive oil. I'm sure my mom right now is saying, add more olive oil. There we go. You can also add like a pinch of chili flakes as well. No rules here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, George, are you
to get that nice aroma.
Are you a dark
that
meat guy? Or are you a dark meat guy or a light meat guy?
I like both.
Yeah.
I like the combination of both.
Okay.
When it comes to Thanksgiving, though, dark meat for sure.
Okay.
How about you guys?
I like. Well, we differ on this.
I like
dark. To like dark, I like light.
Yeah.
Okay, so once
Good.
you do all that, do we add the chicken? What's the next step?
Next step is we're going to add the rice here.
So that's
and it's a
uncooked.
bomba or a cholesterol rice. It's a very short grain rice. Really important because it absorbs a lot of the flavors of the chicken broth.
Yum.
Is that
And the
uncooked
flavors.
rice or is that cooked rice you dumped
This is uncooked. This is uncooked.
And it doesn't need that long to cook?
It's going to need about 20 minutes in the oven, but of course I have one ready for you to show you.
Okay.
And then at this point, I'm going to add the chicken meat. So the chicken meat I have right here that's previously done. This was confit in olive oil, really slowly for about 40 minutes. It's skinless, bone-in thigh. And then we take the meat off of the bone and pull it, just like if you're doing pulled pork, you're doing pulled chicken. And that's in here right now.
If we buy, if we maybe don't have as much time, do you just buy a rotisserie chicken and
cut it
shred it?
Only if you don't have enough time, but with some
He prefers us to
organization
do
and a
this.
little bit of patience, you can do this at home. I
Okay.
promise you.
Okay.
Promise you. Promise you.
What's the next step?
Chorizo
Mm-hmm.
goes in there. All right. And then I'm going to add, so it's about 1 cup of rice, and I'm adding about 1.5 cups of broth. I'm using a roasted chicken broth. You can also use a vegetable stock. If you don't have that, you can use water.
Okay.
Just make sure it's nicely seasoned.
Yeah,
and that goes in carefully like so.
Okay.
So this is a one-pot dish.
It's almost like a paella.
Yeah.
That's right. The only difference is this goes in the oven. Paellas cook on the stove top for the most part, and traditionally over a live fire.
Okay. So do we pop that baby in the oven now?
That's right. So at this point, I got a 400-degree oven, and I'm going to go right off behind me.
Good job staying centered.
Nice.
And there you go.
How long does that cook?
That's going to cook about 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
20 minutes.
We have options there at the restaurant where we pre-cook it just for speed. At home, you can do the same thing. You can have par-cooked rice so that you can speed up the process as long as you have the chicken. The beauty behind this is it's a chicken confit. It's traditionally done with duck as well, and you can hold this in your fridge up to a week. So this whole step with your chicken thigh, you need to do ahead, right? You can preserve it in your fridge.
George,
and then if you really want to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but will you show us that final delicious rice dish?
How do you serve it up? What else do you add anything else to it?
Yeah, so I have sliced chicken breast that's also cooked very similar to the chicken thigh. That's poached in olive oil with thyme and bay leaf. And then once the time is done, the rice comes out of the oven, I slice the chicken breast over the top.
All right.
And here you go.
That
looks delicious.
Gorgeous.
George, thank you so much for this recipe. Head to today.com/food.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes. This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
If making dinner is the dread of your daily routine, don't worry, we've got some help.
Yeah, I need it. We called in our friend, Today's Show nutritionist Joy Bauer, for one of her delicious one-and-done meals, and she's got a pineapple chicken recipe.
By the way, two beautiful things that belong together. All right, so what do you need? What ingredients, Joy, do we need for this recipe?
Okay, guys, this is what you're having for dinner tonight. It really checks every box. So we need 1.5 pounds of either skinless chicken breast or thighs, 1 red onion, 1 red or yellow or orange bell pepper, 2 cups of fresh cubed pineapple, teriyaki sauce, and honey. That's it. And I'm telling you, this is like the ultimate one and done. It's packed with nutrition, it's totally addictively delicious, and it comes together fast.
Okay, so Joy, we all have that moment where we get a pineapple, we think it's ripe.
We don't know.
And it ain't.
Nobody knows. So how do you know?
The easiest way to know if a pineapple is ripe is really to give it a squeeze. You want it to be firm, but it should give a little bit. And then smell the bottom portion. You should get a sweet, fresh aroma. Sometimes it can be ripe, but you don't automatically get that sweet aroma. But if it doesn't have a pleasant aroma, it means it's probably overripe. But that's really the easiest way to know if you're buying the perfect pineapple.
Okay, so we're starting with the chicken. Now what?
Yes. So we have the bowl of chicken. All we're going to do is I have a red onion here. And I'm specifically using a red onion because from that vibrant color, the onion is packed with antioxidants, something specific called quercetin, which eases inflammation and also helps to tame seasonal allergies. Now I'm adding in a bell pepper, and the bell pepper is packed with vitamin C to support a healthy immune system. And the star of our show, fresh cubed pineapple, which brings more vitamin C to the table, but also a group of enzymes called bromelain, which helps to aid in digestion and also eases inflammation. So we have this right here. It couldn't be simpler. And now I'm telling you, for the easiest marinade in all of the land. We're taking a half a cup of teriyaki sauce, bonus points if you could find a reduced sodium, and I'm mixing in just 1 tablespoon of honey. It's going to give it a perfect sweetness. I'm going to stir this up, and I'm just going to pour it right over our concoction over here.
That's it? And you let it marinate for how, you know what, and I have to say, Joy, this is just Hoda's new thing. If you were Hoda making this, she would add a little ginger.
Can you?
Yum. So you can absolutely, you could add ginger, you could add garlic, but really the teriyaki sauce already has some of those things built in. So it's sort of like one-stop shopping, but hey, the more the merrier when it comes to added seasoning. And in terms of letting this marinate, here's the thing. If you have the time, you can let it sit for about 15 to 30 minutes, but you don't have to. Half the time I'm rushing and I don't have the time to let it sit. So then I take my baking sheet. I'm going to mist it with a little bit of oil spray. And you are just going to pour this on top.
That's it?
That's so easy.
That's it. Guys,
I mean, come
I'm telling you.
Anyone can do that. Right?
You're so right. And
Joy,
so
if you like your chicken cubed, can you just cut it beforehand? Yeah.
You can use breasts, thighs, or breasts, and you could just chop it up into whatever size pieces you like. I'm using tenderloins here, but anything goes. And what I'm going to now do is I'm putting this, you're going to come with me over to my oven, and I'm going to pop this in. I set the oven at 420 for just 15 to 18 minutes.
Okay, goodbye.
So I'm putting this.
There you are.
15 to 18 minutes. I may do this, Joy, and I never cook anything.
Looks simple.
Jenna, I would be so psyched. I have one done to see you do it, and you know you have to send me a picture.
I'll send
Look
you a
at this.
pic for sure.
So this one is
we can
done.
make that.
That pan is huge.
And you know what, guys? It's
She's
also
just little.
it is packed with nutrition and it's light in calories, so you really could feel good about enjoying this. And now, truth be told, just like this, you can dive in and it's a perfect winner chicken dinner. But we're going to take it over the edge.
Cauliflower
with
rice?
this. No.
What
it's
is
a
it?
thick, let me push this over, a thick, sweet teriyaki glaze, and it's a kitchen hack that I just discovered that I'm so excited to share. So in here, I just have 2 tablespoons of water. That's it. And I'm adding in a teaspoon of cornstarch. Now it could be arrowroot or cornstarch. This will be our thickener, and you just want to let it dissolve, right?
We just have a couple of seconds left. So how do we?
Okay, so then we add in 1/4 cup of teriyaki sauce and 1 tablespoon of honey. And how's about you put that in the microwave for 1 to 2 minutes. Let me show you this. Look at this.
And you
and then I'm
drizzle that over
very quickly, because I got to go for the money shot here. I'm going to take this. This was our finished. We're going to drizzle this over the top.
Show me the money. That's it.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Joy, you've inspired.
Joy, thank you
inspired
so
a
much
lot of us.
for these recipes. Head to today.com/food. Thank you, Joy. It looks delicious. Yummy, yummy.
I wish you guys could come over and feast with me right now.
Me too. All right.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show.
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, another person we love. We love celebrating her. She's one of our favorites. She is celebrity chef Lydia Bastianich.
We thought, who better to have back than the queen of Italian cuisine herself?
You guys know Lydia. She's the owner of Becco. It's one of New York's most revered restaurants. It's in the theater district. And we're happy to announce that Becco is reopened.
Yes.
And we're so happy, Lydia. It's so great to talk about new beginnings. You've got a beautiful dish in front of you.
Well, buongiorno, ladies, and happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, I was the first chef that came on your show. You invited me. I was so thrilled. So here I am again.
Well,
yes.
we
and
remember.
Today,
yes.
You remember?
We remember, and we can't wait to have you back and get to taste that delicious chicken.
As soon as the situation allows it, I will be there. But in the meantime, you're in my kitchen, in my home, and I'm going to show you how to make this delicious, simple dish of chicken braised in lemon sauce with capers, with olives, and underneath on top of braised spinach. In this case is escargot. It is the #1 dish at Becco. So if you go there, try it.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make it.
Okay.
So you take some chicken breast and you saute it just like that, nice and
beautiful.
A little bit of flour, salt, and you saute it in a little bit of oil.
Okay.
To this, we are going to add some garlic, and then I'm going to put it back on the sliced garlic, just like that. And let's put it back on the fire. And you keep on going, and we'll add some capers. You know capers.
I love capers.
Delicious. Yeah, the
like
delicious
baby
people
pickles.
love those. And you know what? They add a lot of flavor when you cook. For fish too, capers are delicious. And then here I have Cerignola olives.
Wow.
I don't know if you Cerignola olives are these big olives, and they're delicious and meaty. And all you have to do is kind of slice off the pieces of it like that, and you use these pieces in cooking, just like that, just like that.
Beautiful.
I'm going to add that to the pan, and the fire is going. I'm going to add some butter.
Oh, yeah. You had us at butter.
Okay. And then I'm going to add some white wine. Now, you know, I get a lot of times questions asked about cooking wine. Oh, which cooking wine should I use and whatever? No cooking wines. Wine that you would drink. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. It could be something that you have a little bit left over, but use good wine. And then, of course, the lemon juice. A little bit of fresh lemon juice.
Fresh lemon juice,
and
yeah.
you like that kind of cook. Let's put some fresh pepper.
That looks beautiful.
Just
Lydia,
like
can I
that.
ask a question real quick, Lydia? Was that chicken cooked through before you added all that stuff with it? Or
No, you don't have to, because you don't want to overcook chicken. You know, chicken can become tough.
Yeah.
So you do it almost 3/4 of the way, because then you continue to cook it in the sauce.
Okay.
And that's not a long cooking process.
So how long do you cook it? About how long do you cook it before you put everything in it?
Well, you get it brown on both sides.
Okay.
And depends on the intensity of the heat.
Yeah.
But I would say about maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then you go with the garlic, and then you go with all the flavorings. And I also like to put in there some lemon slices. So this way you have a nice decoration. So just slice some lemon, put them right in there. And so let's see. Let me show you how it looks while it's cooking. Do you see it?
Oh my God,
Gorgeous.
Lydia.
It's so simple
Is
and
that
delicious.
it? That's it?
Okay. And let me tell you here, let me show you, I have some escarole. Now, escarole is also garlic and oil, and the escarole leaves, a little pinch of hot pepper, and you put a lid on it with a little bit of water, and you braise your escarole. But spinach is delicious underneath this chicken as well.
Okay.
So, ladies, can you do this?
Yep.
We can do it, and we can't believe it. We can't
Can we
do
see the
anything.
plated version? Can we see your finished product? Oh.
Looking gorgeous.
One more time. We just want one more look. Lydia, we love you. We love you. We want to send our condolences to you about your mom. We know how much you loved her, and we love hearing you talk about her. So thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you for your kind words. She is missed very much. But, you know, I was blessed to have her 100 years.
Yes.
She just turned 100 in January and passed away in February.
Wow.
Oh, we're sending you so much
We love you,
love.
Lydia. Thank you so much. To get that recipe, by the way, at home, you can go to today.com/food.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
And we are back with Today Food and the wonderful Valerie Bertinelli.
That's right. She has been coming into our homes for years, one way or another. As an actress.
You can't get rid of me.
Yeah. She won 2 Golden Globes for her role on One Day at a Time. Who could forget that? She made us laugh out loud and hot in Cleveland, too.
And now, Valerie, you host like 1,000 cooking shows and baking shows.
Only 2.
Food Network, they're so good. Family Food Showdown's awesome, too. This morning, you're going to give us a chicken dish. But
It's the right weather for a chicken dish, I think, especially a chicken bake.
I wish people could smell how good it smells in here.
It smells great.
Where does your love of cooking come from? Before acting?
Oh, yeah.
You've been acting your whole life.
I've been cooking longer than I've been acting, actually. I've been acting since I was 12, and I've been cooking since I was a little...
Why? Was it in your family? Or?
Yeah, my nonni, my mother, and then I find out my great-grandmother was an actual chef in San Remo, so it's in my blood.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. So I'm going to show you this dish because it's really super delicious and it's really great for this time of year.
Yep. There's a lot of ingredients.
There's a lot of ingredients, so I would suggest making a lot of it because I think a great home tip is when you're cooking and you're going through all the trouble anyway, just make more.
Yeah.
And then you have leftovers. I'm one of those fans of leftovers.
Me too.
So I got a little olive oil in here. Here's a great little trick, too. When you're going to marinate any kind of meat, get a baggie out and get it in a bowl, and it's going to hold everything in there for you. I have some white wine. You want?
I know.
I've already partaken.
Exactly. She knows us.
Here, I'll leave you a little.
Yeah,
What's your cut of chicken, Valerie? What is that? Is that those breasts? Or?
These are chicken thighs.
Thighs, like the thighs.
And I really love it.
If you wanted?
You can absolutely do breast if you want, but I'm telling you, don't be afraid of a chicken thigh. It's so tasty. It's got so much more flavor than a breast. I mean, there are some breast men out there, but I happen to be a thigh girl.
Why not both?
I have some fresh thyme.
Yep.
I've got fresh onion.
That's
and
white wine.
garlic.
Does it matter what kind of white wine you use?
Yes, use white wine. You can use Solva, you can use Cabernet, depending.
Okay.
But I do suggest
Use the
any
cheap
wine.
stuff you have at the house. No?
Use the good stuff.
Why? I want to drink the good stuff.
No, you're going to drink the good stuff, and you're going to put it because you're going to taste it in your meal.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought all
You
that burned
always
off.
want the good stuff in everything.
How long are you going to marinate this?
I'm going to marinate this for about 2 hours.
Now, this is not a brine, right?
No.
This is a marinade.
No, well, there is some lemon juice in here.
So that'll help.
So that's why you don't want to marinate it more than 2
I
or
like
3
how you
hours.
put little red pepper flakes
Red
in there.
pepper flakes.
So
You know what, you
Ziploc
guys,
that
I'm
up.
going through this really quickly, but you can go online and you guys will have the recipe.
And they're putting graphics, so hopefully people who know what they're doing.
So now you
know.
just massage your chicken breasts.
Yes.
Or your thighs. These are thighs. So massage thighs or breasts, whatever.
How are the tests, the eaters
Bops
over
or
there? What do you
bippy.
think?
Oh my
God. Great, right?
You're already eating it. I love it. Well, let's get on.
How long
Because
do you marinate?
You're going to marinate that 2 hours, no more than 2 or 3 hours. Here's a leek. Now, what you want to do with leeks, because they can get really, I'm not going to say dirty, but they do get a lot. They do get a lot of sand in them. So you want to get them in some cold water and let them come apart. And then once they've been in the cold water for a while,
Yeah.
you got your leeks right here. Then you add some potatoes, little ones, and then you add some of your red onion right over.
Simple.
And then more olive oil.
Yeah.
And then you get this into the oven at about 425 for, it'll say on the graphic. So you get that in the oven. We want these nice and
Follow the
tender.
instructions.
Yes, okay.
So while that's happening, you're going to bring your chicken out and you're going to let it come to room temperature. But you want to get all of those beautiful juices that you just made. You strained it because you're going to make that into your sauce.
Okay.
But you want to keep
I would have thrown that out because it was in raw chicken. I would have known that the
But you're going to cook it, so it's going to be okay.
Good.
So you're very right. You don't want to ever eat something that's been on raw chicken without
Unless you
cooking
cook it
first.
off,
You
yeah.
got to cook it off.
Yep.
And you want to save these really yummy bits too. And then once you do, you're going to salt and pepper these guys. I'm not going to get to that. I don't have
That's all right.
It's okay. We
And
got
you
it.
want to saute these. Oh, I didn't put it up high enough.
That's right, but that'll be
so you
sizzling
wanna
When you're home,
inside
you want
down.
that sizzling, and you want to really get 2 or 3 minutes on each side.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about cooking it all the way through, because that's going to go back in
You're
the
gonna
oven.
bake this whole thing off
You're
anyway.
going to bake it all off again.
Okay.
There's a lot of steps here.
There's a lot of steps, but it's so worth it because when you put all that into it, you can really taste it.
Those breadcrumbs at the end, are those
There's our
homemade?
breadcrumbs at the end.
Homemade
So
or-
all these bits, well, you saute them with some
Try
butter,
this again.
and you get them nice and crispy. And then you want to then get some mustard over these guys. Put the breadcrumbs back on, and by the end, you're going to have this beautiful dish.
Oh my gosh,
Spectacular.
Valerie,
And it's super delish.
Spectacular.
It really is. It's worth
Oh, you're
every
eating good.
step. It's so good. I do.
Try the
Yummy.
potatoes. They're crazy.
Why I feel like everybody else's chicken is better than my chicken. Like everywhere else I go.
Really?
Yes, chicken's hard for me.
Chicken is probably
This
the
is
easiest
so
protein
delicious.
in the world to cook.
No, but you cooked it twice and it's delicious.
Well,
it's moist
and you want
inside,
to
it's
make
crispy
sure
on the
you're crisp
outside.
on the skin.
Mine's
It's all-
rubbery and crabby. Valerie, thank you so much.
Okay, so are you bored with the same old chicken dinner?
Well, so are we. So we asked Today Show contributor Elizabeth Heiskell for a good chicken recipe to spice things up, and she didn't just wing it. It just keeps going on and on.
Y'all are the best.
Oh, wow.
So it's the good chicken. It doesn't even have a name. My kids call it the good chicken. My friend came up with this recipe, Kara. It's perfect. Her friend Kara came up with it. Do not judge me, all right?
No, we won't.
So we're
Not
going to start
judgment.
with our chicken. Now, we are going to add...
Now, does it have to be the breast?
Yeah, you want the... Oh, that's good.
That's
we'll
clean.
get a little
Doesn't
bleach on that
matter.
later. So yeah, you want a boneless, skinless chicken breast.
Okay.
And then we're going to add chicken broth.
Got it.
We have peppercini peppers.
Sorry, Meredith.
And just until it covers it, this is the juice from the peppercini peppers. We're going to add those too.
I've never even heard of
Now,
peppercini peppers.
Wait, what? You know the
You gotta slow
peppercini
down.
peppers?
This is the juice?
Yeah, so you get a jar of peppercini peppers.
Is that peppercini
You know the
peppers?
big green peppers. These are just sliced though.
Okay.
And so we'll add those. You know what I'm talking about.
But how did you get the juice out of them?
Well,
Out of a
when
can.
when you dump it, it all kind of
can.
comes in the
Out of a can.
jar.
Oh, I
It's in
thought
a
you
jar.
meant you
It's in a
squeeze
jar.
a pepper.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
thinking,
No,
how
it's
do
a
you do
jar of
that?
peppercini peppers. You pour the whole thing
not
in.
a cook.
Just keep the juice, I guess is the
Okay.
point.
Okay.
So now we have some ranch dressing packet.
Oh.
I know. And a little bit, it's a gravy packet. I know, that's what I said. Do not judge me
No,
on this
not at all.
recipe. Until you've tried it, don't judge me.
we won't.
Now we're going to put it in our slow cooker for 45
Minutes.
Start off for about 45 minutes. It's going to need to go for about 4 hours though.
Wow.
And then it just shreds. The deal is we don't have time to listen to our children complain about
No,
food.
we sure don't.
This is something that they will love. Every time I make it, or if I'm making chicken, they're like, "Mom, is it the good chicken?" I'm like, "Yes."
Now,
it's
do
the
you have
good
a bad chicken?
And everybody's yes.
You do have a bad chicken?
Just like a boneless, skinless chicken that you just throw in the oven with some lemon juice and a couple of seasonings, and nobody likes it, but
Okay,
it's
but
super
this they
simple.
love.
This
Okay.
is very, very simple as well. Now, we're going to serve it over rice. You could serve it over pasta. You could do mashed cauliflower. Would be amazing.
It is good chicken.
Isn't it good?
Thank
It's
you.
just
Thank you.
good, simple. It's easy for you now that you're going to have a new baby. You're going to be busy
Oh,
as
that's
all
right.
get out.
That's right.
You know, and so this is something you can throw in before you go to work. It's ready when
Very
you come
flavorful.
home. Now, this icebox pasta is going to be a lifesaver. So what we do is we take anything that's left over in the icebox. So we had some smoked chicken, we've got a peach, we have some peppers, you know, corn, whatever you've got. If you've got a zucchini, throw it in there. Red pepper, you throw it in there. We had some tomatoes left over.
It is a lot of it.
Well, whatever you love.
Okay.
And then we have a great vinaigrette.
What you put in
that
this
we're going to
vinaigrette?
toss it with. So it's equal parts olive oil and cider vinegar. It does have a little bit of Parmesan. It has some really beautiful basil, some cilantro,
which is always delicious.
some great parsley.
All right.
We mix it all together. Add this to our pasta.
Now stir.
Exactly.
Wait, did you put some chicken in there?
We could have put the good chicken in there, but we had some smoked chicken in the icebox, so we threw that in there. We have a little bit of pasta. Add our pasta.
Okay.
And then we've got some cilantro. We've got
Thank
some
you
basil.
very much.
All right.
I'm just trying to come up with things for you that will
Elizabeth,
make your life much
You know what? Just
simpler.
by being here, you made our life much better and much simpler. So for these recipes and more, go to today.com/food.
I just feel like I'm dancing for so many people that weren't given the opportunities that I have, and so I understand my responsibility.
I'm so excited because I am sitting next to one of the premier dancers in the country, around the world, Misty Copeland. I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to see you too.
I think when people see you, they think, wow, I bet you this kid was born and had everything kind of, not handed to her, but, you know, had everything top drawer. Let's talk about your quote, because I think this means a lot. You have two favorites. This is one of them. Where you come from doesn't necessarily determine where you're going in life.
Yeah, I mean, I think people would assume that someone comes from a privileged background, being a part of, you know, such an elite art form. But that's what's so amazing, I think, having the opportunity to be a part of something where you just don't see people like myself being represented in that space. So it's really exciting when I can go to these communities that are similar to where I was raised and how I grew up, and just to give them an example of what's possible, that you don't have to fit into this mold in order to be whatever it is you want to be. And I've definitely come from that experience, you know, growing up in a single parent home, one of 6 children. I was living in a motel when I started dancing, and so it's about what the arts can do for you and how it can enrich a child's life, no matter if they want to go on to be a professional or not. It's just so important, I think.
There's a Mr. Rogers quote, and I'm just thinking about it because he's been in the news a lot lately, and he says, for all of us, there's someone who loved us into being. So who loved you into being?
I have so many amazing fairy godmothers and brown women that have just been incredible mentors to me. Raven Wilkinson, who passed away last year, was a black ballerina, the first and only to dance in an all-white company at the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo in the 50s. Prince was such a big part of my growth and just discovering who I am as a woman and as an artist, but having representation, whether it be a woman or, you know, a man. I think that just having people that you can see yourself through and knowing that you don't have to follow someone else's journey or path, and that it's more incredible to be an individual.
Confidence is something, I don't know if you're born with it or if you get it, I'm not sure, but for you, how did you have the moxie?
I feel like everything that happened in my life up until I was 13 years old really prepared me to be a part of the ballet world in some weird way.
How?
I think that it's such a difficult world to be a part of. I mean, to get to where I am, you just have to have so much perseverance and will and drive and really love it, because the work it never ends. And so I feel like coming from, just always struggling and fighting, it was like, if I can get through that, I'm the ballet world, I'm good, I can handle this. So I'm so grateful for like everything that I've experienced and that's made me into the person that I am.
How many times do little girls come up to you and say, wow,
It's-
I want to be you? That's got to be so gratifying.
I mean, I think because I understand like the bigger picture and that it's not me, it's like what I represent. Even like older Black women that come to me and they're just like, you're living what I wished I could have done or like had the opportunity to do. And it's like, I just feel like I'm dancing for so many people that weren't given the opportunities that I have. And so I understand my responsibility and how I'm seen and viewed. So it's so amazing whenever I meet a little girl or like I mentor. I actually had one of my mentees that I've been mentoring for almost like 10 years now. And she's like a woman. She like came over last night and it's just like crazy to watch them grow up.
I mean, I know it's a privilege to do what you do, and I know it's a privilege to have people look up to you, but is it ever a lot on your shoulders to carry people's dreams?
No, I don't see it that way. I feel like it's been such a long journey, and I think for a lot of people that don't know the ballet world and kind of just saw me like come into the spotlight or whatever when I was promoted to principal dancer, and it's like this has been a long journey of working to get here, and I don't feel that it's like been like, okay, now you're here and you're going to be a role model. It's like been very organic. I think if anything, whenever I felt pressure, it's come from probably like outside, like media, where a lot of no dancer is put in a position where people are writing and talking about whether or not you're going to be promoted, and they're coming and critiquing like your first time approaching a massive role. Like that doesn't happen. Usually like as a new principal dancer, you'll kind of be under the radar until you get more experience. But it was like my first Swan Lake was like everyone's there, like is she gonna fail? Is it this? Does she deserve to be promoted? I think that was
terrifying.
The first time that I ever felt that type of like weight. But in terms of just, you know, it is what it is, and just being on the stage is doing so much for the next generation.
Your other quote, which I love too, is don't let other people's words define you.
That's a huge one. And again, for like this generation, especially like young people and social media and just like, you know, cyberbullying, and it's people's words can be so powerful and impacting like your emotions and your confidence. And so I just often, I have to remind myself, but I often like am saying to these young kids that like these people that you don't know, like their words shouldn't impact you. You know, it's the people that care about you, that are supporting you. So it's just like to think simply about it when you get caught up in like what people might say about you.
Do you, I mean, I try not to pay attention when stuff happens, but I'm also a human being.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes I'll look and I'll get an ouch. Do you like have a suit of armor on? Like how do you stop it?
I don't look. Of course there are things that happen when like it just comes into your sphere and you can't avoid it. In Master Class, which is coming out, which I'm so excited about, I definitely share a lot of those stories that I think are just as important as like learning about the technique of classical ballet. But as any athlete would know, it's about your emotional state. It's about, you know, taking care and like just being strong and being confident, because we're human beings and we're not often looked, you know, you're on stage and so people just kind of were like, all right, you have to be perfect every time like I come to see you. But I definitely have had situations where people have, you know, you're not supposed to film things in the theater, where people have filmed me and like posted it on YouTube, and you know, just horrible things like Misty Copeland failing, and for me, I try and if I do see it and I think that it's an important topic to cover, I posted actually this horrible video of me on all of my social platforms and just started this topic of conversation about bullying and what you can learn from seeing those things, and that you don't always have to address it. But I think it's important too.
Let's talk about the Nutcracker. You're back. So excited. What made you decide?
Well, so the Nutcracker is like a part of every ballet dancer's world. Like that's, you know, I personally love it, and the version that American Ballet Theater does is not the traditional choreography. It's like a lot more like kind of whimsical and contemporary. But most dancers would be like, oh my God, Nutcracker. Like, you know, you do it every year, but it's the type of ballet that can bring people in from all types, different backgrounds that, you know, it's just such a part of, especially in America, like the holiday tradition. And then having been in the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, the Disney movie that came out, it's just incredible to be a brown ballerina and be put in a position to represent ballet like in a Disney film. And I think that it's huge for, you know, just the future of ballet.
Are you happy?
I'm like, no, I'm miserable now. Yes.
Sometimes you never know. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You are traveling all over the world. You're holding it together. You have a great life. You're a shining role model, and I'm just happy I got to sit with you for a few minutes. Thank you, Misty.
Thanks for having me.
Don't move.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so Misty Copeland began dancing at the age of 13. Look at sweet, sweet girl, and would go on to become one of the world's top dancers. In 2015, Misty became the first African-American to be named a principal dancer with the prestigious American Ballet Theater.
She's also a best-selling author, and now she's out with a new children's book inspired by her early love of ballet. It is called Bunheads.
Misty, we're so happy to see you. You're inside a beautiful home that we hear a rumor is on the cover of Architecture Digest, and we want to get to that in a second because we can't wait to look inside your home. But let's talk about this book. I mean, you were inspired, some would say late in life, even though you were 13, to start dancing. So tell us about this book.
Yes, well, first of all, I'm so happy to be with two of my favorite people. You guys are just warm my heart and make me smile and laugh so much. But I was so impressed, first of all, by Emmy, and congratulations on her children's book that's coming out today as well. It's just so beautiful and encouraging to see young people inspired to take steps and push themselves and challenge themselves. And that's so much, what Bunheads is about. It's loosely based on experiences that I had growing up as a young girl and really just wanting to change the narrative of what's so often depicted in film and television and media, which is that it's really cutthroat and that all the girls are out to get each other. We're not living Black Swan. We have very beautiful experiences in the studio, and I wanted to be able to highlight that and show the importance of the relationships that you build in that time, that you find these commonalities through dance and love of this universal language that brings people together, but that you can be different. You can be any sex, you can be any race, any size, any age, and find that commonality through your love of dance. And so that's the journey that I take people on with my misfit group of bunheads in this story.
Misty, we love this book, and I got to talk to you a couple years ago, and you had this kind of serendipitous fall into ballet, or I guess rise into ballet, where you ended up at the YMCA. Can you remember that first day and what it felt like to be little Misty thinking like, oh my gosh, this is something that I could do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, that's something that I also really wanted to depict in this book was the reality of, the anxieties I had around doing something out of my comfort zone, which I know so many young people and adults experience and therefore don't push themselves. And I was just so fortunate that I had an incredible teacher who believed in me. And it was the first time that I saw my worth and value and what was possible for me. So, that first introduction into ballet was on a basketball court at the Boys and Girls Club. And it was the farthest thing from what I saw my future possibilities being. But it is what shaped me to be the woman I am today, and to be able to see how important it is to give back what I've gotten from so many incredible mentors.
Misty, there are a bunch of little adorable bunheads who want to ask you some questions. We have a beautiful wall. They're kids who woke up early. They are ready for their moment with you. I want to start off with, where's Noelle? Where are you, Noelle? Will you ask your question?
Hi, Misty. My question is, what do you do when you're nervous before you perform?
Oh, thank you, Noelle. Music has always been that thing that keeps me grounded and focused. So whenever I feel any nerves or anxiety, first of all, I remind myself, why am I doing this? Because I love it, because I love to share my art with other people. But music is really something that I put on, and it doesn't have to be the music I'm about to dance to. Even if I'm doing Swan Lake, sometimes I'll put on some Mariah Carey or some Drake, and I'll just breathe and center myself and remind myself that this is entertainment and I'm there to make people happy.
Noelle, thank you so much.
We love you, Noelle.
Question. Next up, we have a 16-year-old Brianna from Toronto, Canada. What's your question?
Hi, Misty. Thank you for being so influential to the whole ballet industry, and you've had such an amazing impact on my ballet journey. You've been so inspiring to me, my whole ballet studying, and I was just wondering, how does it feel to be so influential to so many dancers all over the world?
Oh, thank you. I don't see myself in that light or that way. I think that I'm a vessel, and I stand on the shoulders of so many that have come before me that didn't get the opportunities that I have, that didn't have a voice or a platform that I have. And so I see myself as you. I see myself as all of us who are on the same journey towards, bringing people happiness, but also bringing more diversity to classical dance and showing all children that they can be anything they want to do. So I really just see myself as, what's possible.
Hey, Misty, will you stand by? We have 8-year-old Fern who has a question, but we're going to take a commercial break first. We're going to talk to her, and then we're going to take a look inside your awesome home. We can't wait. Your New York City home coming up after the break.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Is that ready? Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning. Welcome to you today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
We are back with Misty Copeland, who's written a beautiful new children's book. It is called Bunhead.
And we've been waiting for 8-year-old Fern from Portland, Oregon. She's got a question for you, Misty. Hey, Fern.
So you're
Hi.
Hi. Hi. What's your question, Fern?
Hi, Misty. I was wondering what helped you when other people didn't believe in you? Because I did a biography on you, and I had some struggles in becoming a ballerina.
Oh, that's such a wonderful question. Thank you, Fern. You know, it was really having incredible people there to support me in my life. That's what's really been the driving force in every situation to getting me through, is having love and support from those around me.
Oh, thank you, Fern. You sweet thing.
Thank you.
Oh,
Misty, we've just loved you answering those questions. We also loved taking a peek into your house, your new house, which y'all just finished. You're on the cover
I'm sorry,
of
Fancy.
Architecture Digest, looking beautiful. You just finished this house right before the pandemic.
Yeah. Yes, it's been an interesting journey, but at the same time, you know, it's, you know, this is not something I often do. You know, even on my social media, I really keep it to a platform that I use to share my craft and reach people, but it's not something I really use for personal. You know, I'm pretty private, I would say.
Yes.
But you know, it's been such an incredible journey, and the opportunities that I've gotten, I never imagined as, you know, a 7-year-old, a 13-year-old girl, that I would have the stability and security in my life that I have. You know, growing up, not often having a home, living in motels, living at friends' homes, and just constant fear of not being able to survive. So to be able to have worked so hard, you know, me and my husband as two Black people, to really call something our own that we own is such a proud moment. And I feel a beautiful example for so many young people of color.
Well, we applaud you. A beautiful example for everyone. Misty, thank you.
We love
What a
you so
treat
much,
you
Misty.
are. Oh.
So everybody go check out Misty's children's books. It's called Bunhead.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine. Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
What is the biggest misconception about the ballet world?
That it's cutthroat and that we don't support each other and don't get along. And that's not at all, how it is on the inside and behind the scenes. We're a family. We travel the world together. We spend more time with each other than our own families.
It's not Black Swan.
Not exactly.
Good. I couldn't even watch that movie. Misty Copeland, welcome to the 6 Minute Marathon.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start the clock. Here we go. What is your life motto?
Not to let other people's words define me.
How do you find balance in your life?
I use the structure and discipline and all that I've learned through ballet, I think, to really apply that to all that I do in my life. So I'd say ballet keeps me centered and grounded and balanced.
It literally keeps you balanced.
It does.
What is something you would like to learn?
I think I would like to learn other languages, for sure.
Do you know any other languages?
I don't. I have so many that I'm like French and Spanish, and then I just slowly drift from it and fall into other things. But I would love to learn those two languages, Italian too.
Wouldn't it be fun to go to one of those countries and just kind of soak into the culture for a while?
That's like a dream, to be able to just like move to Tuscany and for a year and just be with the Italian people and learn the language that way.
Me too. I've always wanted to do like an Eat, Pray, Love year. Let's
Absolutely.
go. When was the first time you realized people knew who you were?
Probably after my first Under Armour campaign, I Will What I Want. I think that was really when I kind of crossed over and even, got the attention and respect of men to see dancers as athletes as well as artists.
What's the best interaction on the street or, with a fan that you've ever had?
I think when I see like young girls that are just overwhelmed because of what I represent and they just get really emotional, and most of my fans want to like touch me and hug me, which I think is such a beautiful thing because I want them to see me as themselves and as human, and so I love that connection that I have with them.
What is your favorite book?
I would say The Power of Now. I think it's Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, I think it's something that I continue to go back to in different times and phases in my life and learn something new from it every time.
What is the biggest misconception about the ballet world?
That it's cutthroat and that we don't support each other and don't get along. And that's not at all how it is on the inside and behind the scenes. We're a family. We travel the world together. We spend more time with each other than our own families. And it really is a supportive environment.
It's not Black Swan.
Not exactly.
Good. I couldn't even watch that movie. Let's see. Concert or Broadway show?
Concert. I'm a huge music lover. That was what I grew up on, being played around the house, and that's what motivated me to dance. If there's ever a concert in New York that I'm excited about, I will drop everything to be there.
What's your favorite kind of live music?
I love like soul and R&B. But I do need more Mariah Carey live music in my life. I've only ever been to one concert. She was my first concert at, I think, 16 years old.
All right, there's no transition to this one. What is a weird food you like that most people don't?
A weird food? I love beets. Like I love vegetables, and I love like the earthiness of a beet. I love them. Just take them whole and roast them with just salt, pepper, and olive oil, and just dig in.
It's funny. I came to beets later in life. Did you like them even when you were little?
I did. I mean, didn't grow up with a lot of options for healthy foods. And so when I was eating it was out of the can. So later in life, I realized like, oh, this is something that actually grows from the earth and I could make it myself.
That's how I felt about cranberries. When I found out that cranberries didn't naturally come with like the can imprint, where you just slice it. Same thing.
Yeah.
Who are you inspired by?
I'm inspired by the youth. I'm inspired by seeing how incredibly powerful and intelligent and the forward thinking and just ability to stand on their own and say what's right. I think it's so impressive, and I think the point of having young people that learn from us is to make them better than we are, and that's how we create a better world and continue to evolve.
Who have you been starstruck in meeting?
I would say President Obama. You know, I've been so fortunate to spend quite a bit of time with him and interview him. But I think every single time he just has such an incredibly powerful and engaging presence. And at the same time, he feels like, you know, like I'm like talking to my dad. So there's like this weird, like, you know, balance of just incredible love and support and power that he possesses.
Where would you like to visit that you haven't been? We know we're going to Tuscany to learn Italian.
You know, I've never been to Spain, and I would love to go to Spain. Yeah.
We'll go there after we go to Italy.
Perfect.
Misty Copeland, great job. You did an awesome job.
Thank you. And that was fun.
Thank you, sweetie. Have a good day.
You too.
I'm going to go make some beats.
Yes.
There's this new study. It was published in the journal Science, and it really takes everything that we thought we knew about metabolism and aging and essentially throws it out the window. And we're going to break it down now with NBC News medical correspondent Dr. John Torres and lead dietitian and manager of wellness nutrition services at Cleveland Clinic, Kristen Kirkpatrick. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Dr. John,
good morning.
Let me start with you, Dr. John. Explain the science, if you can, behind this new metabolic data. Like, what does it mean, and how could we have been so wrong about it for so long?
And you're right, Greg, this is turning things on its head because all along I thought the same thing. You know, as you start getting older, your metabolism slows down. Once you hit your 30s, you pack on a few extra pounds. Not much you can do about it because it's your metabolism causing that to happen, even more so when you're in your 40s and your 50s. But this study is saying not so fast. That's not what's happening, actually. And what they did is they looked at what we call the carbon dioxide expenditure. How much carbon dioxide are we burning off every day, which is a sign of our metabolism. In other words, the things we're doing to breathe, to digest food, just to live, our basic metabolism. And they looked at 8-day-olds up to 95-year-olds to find out. And what they found out is we do things in groups throughout our lives, and it breaks down into 4 different categories. From birth until 1 year old, we are metabolism machines. We are burning metabolism like it's nobody's business. But once we turn 1 until we turn 20, that starts slowing down about 3% a year. Didn't matter if you were a teenager, didn't matter where you were in that period, it slows down about 3% a year. But once you hit 20 until you get to 60, it stays the same, regardless of what's happening, regardless of if you're a man or a woman, regardless if you're going through menopause, pregnancy. None of those things influence that basic metabolism. And then once you turn 60, it started slowing down again. So that's the key. And it turns out, again, when we're in our 30s and 40s, it's not the metabolism putting on those extra pounds. Sorry.
Lazy and eating too much.
So, Kristen, that then leads to the question, basically, calories and exercise, which things we pretty much know, that would be, I would think, the keys to helping improve our metabolic health over that 40-year span.
Yeah, definitely the key. But the real important point here looking at this data is that this is looking at total energy expenditure. So obviously it's looking at energy out, the calories burned, but we can't stop thinking about the calories in. The problem is we are really looking at our calories in the wrong way. We are a nation that is still very overweight and obese, despite the fact that we have a million different diets out there. But we are still consuming a lot of hyperpalatable foods, and we're still focusing
on the quantity of calories. We need to shift the focus.
What's
change the
hyperpalatable?
Conversation. Hyperpalatable
Very
foods
edible.
are foods that very edible, absolutely. So you can't stop eating them. So I always say to my patients, there's a reason why you can stop eating a bowl of steamed broccoli, but you can't stop eating a bag of potato chips. So we have data that shows that hyperpalatable foods actually hijack areas in the brain that cause you to not have that feeling of fullness and I'm ready to stop. So when we're eating these foods, we eat tons and tons of calories because our brain is not sending the message, hey, you need to stop eating. And so this is what we're focusing on. We really need to look at quantity as something that's not as important as quality. Quality is key, and that starts with eating real food.
Good point. I thought it was very interesting that, men and women, really there is no difference between our metabolic rates. I always just assume men burn calories faster than women do. Were there other myths that were debunked by this study?
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I really noticed is looking at menopausal women. So a lot of my patient base at Cleveland Clinic is postmenopausal, premenopausal women who come in and say, oh gosh, I can't fit into my jeans when I was 25. And the common thought was, well, of course, this is a normal aspect of aging. So this was really surprising that menopause didn't even impact the metabolism. And it really does change the conversation that we as clinicians have and how we have to look at our dietary recommendations when we're counseling our patients.
Dr. John, let's talk about the impact here potentially on future medical research, because I understand that this could actually affect drug dosages for children and older people going forward. Why would that be?
And this could have a big impact because up until now, when we look at drugs, it's kind of a one-size-fits-all. And we talk about giving dosing based on mainly on weight and on age type situations by grouping them in large age groups. But now what we're finding out, according to this study, is that the cells actually, something happens inside the cells to drive that metabolism in those stages we talked about, particularly once you get past the age of 60. And because that's happening, that means our drugs are going to be handled differently in the cell level. And so we need to make sure that we're adjusting it appropriately. So I think in the future, you're going to find out that somebody, for instance, with high blood pressure, if they're in their 40s, they're going to have to get different dosing than if they're in their 70s, just because of that metabolism effect that's happening there.
Hey, Kristen, for those over 60, just asking for a friend, what should those folks be focusing on as we look ahead toward, trying to stay as healthy as possible?
Yeah, so for your friend, Al, what I would say is that it's really important, again, to really focus on that real food. So Michael Pollan defines food as something that comes from nature, is fed from nature, and will eventually rot. So we really need to take out all of the millions of dietary recommendations that we have from social media and all these other places. Not look at what is working for your friends, but what is working for you. I often tell my patients that the best diet for you is the one you can stick to. So I think we have to look at that and think, okay, if I'm over 60, my metabolism is going to drop a little bit. And what can I do? I can eat more food. If you eat more food, you're getting more nutrient density, you're getting more fiber. That fills you up, and it naturally lowers your calorie count.
And what about exercise?
Yeah, the exercise was a surprise as well. So what we're finding here is that exercise is essential for heart health and reduction of certain cancers, but might not be the key to weight loss or even weight management. So you can't rely on exercise. I'm sure you've heard this before, but you can't outrun a bad diet. And this is definitely true, and something that we have seen in this study is that exercise should be part of your overall lifestyle goals, but it shouldn't be what you're depending on to lose weight and to keep that weight off. As many people know, losing weight is not easy. Keeping it off is even more difficult. So we really have to look and really tighten up the fact that we can't use this excuse anymore. It's not our metabolism.
Kristen Kirkpatrick, great information.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Her weight loss video went viral with 12 million views. Take a look at this.
Yeah, it was last November when certified fitness trainer Lucy Bergen started recording her weight loss journey, taking a daily image of herself wearing the same outfit, and she did it in an effort to inspire herself to get healthy. She did it for 6 months and lost a total of 35 pounds, and then, well, she posted it to TikTok, and the rest is digital history. Lucy Bergen joins us now from Tampa, Florida. Lucy, what a cool idea. And now, here we are, some 12 million views later, and you were showing up on good days, on bad days. What were you telling yourself when you were looking in the mirror, taking those pictures, taking those videos?
What was I telling myself? I just kept telling myself that it wasn't a short-term goal. It wasn't a diet. It was a lifestyle change. And that's what's so important. And I love this video because it shows my bad days. It shows the days that I was bloating, or you can even see in my face if I had a rough day. And that's what life is. It's not about going on a diet and trying to lose 20 pounds in a week. It's not about the weight. It's about your mental health. And you can see in this video also, it's little changes at a time. I didn't even notice my transformation until I put everything together.
I bet. So this all started for so many people gaining weight during COVID, putting on a few extra pounds, and then over 6 months you lost 35 pounds. So how did you do it? What were your tips, and what advice do you have for others trying to lose some weight?
All right, so my biggest piece of advice would be to get a friend or someone that you can have accountability with. My best friend and I did it together, and we kept each other accountable. And so because of that, we were able to almost make a challenge out of it. And when it comes to that, it really helped me. And then when it comes to diet and working out, I was lifting heavy at first and eating carbs, proteins, things like that. Something that's actually really awesome is in the fitness world, we're taught, especially as women, that we should be eating 1,200 calories or even less. And I've had clients come to me saying they're eating about 500 calories a day. And what they don't know is that actually slows down your metabolism. And you need a certain amount of calories to have your body function properly. Just like you need to put gas into a car for it to run, you need to have fuel in your body for your body to burn fat.
Yeah, Lucy, I would think when a lot of us see these trainers and they're all buff and they're in great shape, I think it would be more inspirational to be working out with somebody like you who's had the challenges themselves and knows what it's like for the rest of us to try to get back into shape.
Yes, sir. That's actually, I worked at a gym in New Jersey, and I specifically chose that gym because I knew that everyone coming to me was brand new to the fitness world. And I can't tell you the amount of conversations I would have with these amazing people who would come in and they would give me their why, their reason why they wanted to change. I mean, I had people telling me that they wanted to be a good example for their children or be able to fit in a pair of jeans for their honeymoon. And these reasons, you could tell they were so special to every individual that would come in and talk to me. And I sat and cried with some of these people because I've been there. And it is so hard to get started on this journey when you think that you're too far gone.
Lucy, thank you. This has been so inspirational. Congratulations to you, and appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Is that ready? Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic.
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
You may have the urge to get back to the gym, hit the trails, or play some sports.
But after all this time at home, your body may not be able to keep up with your brain.
So here to help us get in shape and stay out of the doctor's office is orthopedic surgeon Dr. Vonda Wright. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. I'm so glad to see you again.
Well, it's good to see you. So, Doc, so for folks who may have maybe hit the pause button on exercise, want to get back into that fitness routine, you say to be careful of the terrible twos, TOOS. What do you mean?
You know, after we've been inside for 18 months sitting at our desks, we are on weekend warrior overload, right? We want to get back. But what we do is we do too much at one time. We do it too often. We do it too soon. And unfortunately, that is a recipe for injuries. And I want you outside. I love you, but please don't come to my doctor's office because we've had the terrible twos.
I mean, what kind of injuries are you seeing as an orthopedic surgeon, doctor?
You know what? We've been sitting a long time, so that makes our cores weak, our rear ends weak. So we're having lots of knee pain, ankle pain. We have hip bursitis, and we even see a lot of back pain. All of these, fortunately, can be treated and prevented.
So on that note, for all of the people watching this morning who have all those pains that you just mentioned, I know you say mobility is our medicine. Can you give us a few things that we can all do to help?
You know what? I love prescribing mobility as medicine. And so the first thing I want people to do every single day is to dynamically warm up our major muscle groups, our hips, our knees. Look at this marvelous squat that's being done.
That's Brandon doing the perfect squat and lunge.
I mean, he's got great form. He's warming up every joint, the ankles, the knees, the hips. The other thing we need to do every single day is work on our balance. And we've discussed before how we can do that simply by standing on one foot while we brush our teeth. That's going to help prevent injury.
So you also suggest aerobic exercise 3 times a week. So how do we strengthen our stamina as we build to that?
Absolutely. So you are going to be tempted to go outside, maybe go to Central Park and do what you've always done. But I want you to work back into it using a method we called speed play. So basically for 20 minutes, you are going to do 5-minute blocks. You can warm up for 5 minutes, which just means break a little sweat, get your heart rate going. And then for 4 minutes, speed up. Now, this doesn't have to be running. It can be rowing and cycling or even swimming, whatever you choose. But 4 minutes and then completely rest. And you can see how there's multiple levels. And once you work through 1 minute exertion, 4 minutes rest, 2 minutes exertion, 3 minutes rest, eventually, over about 6 weeks, you can get back to what you're used to.
Dr. Wright, you're also, I know, concerned about strengthening all parts of the body. What's an effective way to do that? How often should we be doing that?
You know, Craig, I like us to do total body cross training about twice a week. Lean muscle mass is really important for us. And so things like static lunges that are being shown, planks are amazing for our core, which have gotten so weak as we've been sitting in a chair, and even plyometric exercises. If we do these twice a week in between our aerobic exercises, we're going to train the entire body and prevent injury.
That's Natalie, our desk assistant. Thank you, Natalie.
I'll have what Natalie's having. I'm looking at that video. So one more tip, I guess, what would you say to motivate us? I think, you know what, you have some people who, they're hardcore. They've been working out throughout the pandemic. If anything, they look better than ever. And then you have the other folks who are just, they know they're supposed to work out. They just don't feel like it. They don't feel like sweating. They don't feel like being uncomfortable. What would you say?
You know what? Even as the mobility doctor, I understand that. I had just done this 6-week track of trying to get back in shape. But you know what motivated me? I know that at the end of 6 weeks, not only am I going to feel amazing, but maybe I get a pair of hot shoes.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, maybe we go to a date night that we haven't been out to for so long.
An incentive.
Yeah.
We just get to see our friends.
Hey, Doc, we go really quick. How important is sleep?
Al, we have underestimated the power of sleep and restoration for generations. And I can tell you, as a, medical trainee, we thought it wasn't necessary. But Al, if you want to perform at peak performance, whether you're performing at your job or in exercise, or even as your family, please prioritize about 7 hours a night. Get a bedtime routine, same time every night. Get off our digital devices and allow ourselves to rest and restore so that we can perform at the level that we're capable of.
Rest and restore.
There you go.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
OneRepublic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We're out there, we're active, we're doing the thing, right? It's that we're not seeing ourselves represented in mainstream fitness, which is a disservice for all of us.
Chrissy King is a personal trainer and fitness blogger who recently wrote an article about being Black and body positive in an industry that trends white and thin.
Why did you decide to write about this issue in particular? I was going to fitness conferences, and I'd be one of the few only people of color, and I just think it's so important because the benefits of wellness are for everyone, not just a particular type of people.
Simone Samuels agrees. After discovering a passion for working out, she added fitness certifications to her 2 law degrees.
I almost didn't get into this industry because I didn't see myself represented. First of all, will gyms even hire me? 2, Will people even come to my class? Are people gonna think, oh, she's a little fluffy, I'm not gonna get a good workout, I'm gonna go find somebody else?
Simone talked with Chrissy for her article.
You say, quote, being big and black in an industry that's overwhelmingly white and thin means being awkwardly visible and frustratingly invisible. You're an instructor now. Do you still feel this way?
Most fitness instructors are, understandably, thin and six-pack and really athletic looking. If you see somebody with a six-pack, you think they're fit. If you see somebody with a bare belly, you think, oh, they're not fit and they're eating too many Cheetos. When we know now that you can't look at somebody's appearance to know whether or not they are fit, whether or not they are healthy. And that's also kind of why I got into fitness. So people could see that, yeah, I could do a side plank too. And I could run too, and I could teach 3 classes back to back too.
For both of these ladies, wellness is more than the number on the scale, and body positivity is a lifestyle.
Where is the line between accepting yourself and then wanting to be a better version of yourself?
For me, body positivity, real, genuine body positivity should compel you to engage in joyful, healthful movements. It should compel you to want to move out of respect for your body. It should compel you to want to eat good, healthy variety of foods out of respect for your body.
My thing with health at every size is like, how am I feeling and living my best nourished life and getting to that better version of myself where I'm feeling good in my skin every day. And if weight loss is a byproduct, so be it. But when you make weight loss the goal, you can get to that goal and still have a whole host of other issues that you're not happy with, have a negative relationship with food, have a negative relationship with your body, have a negative relationship with exercise. So let's make how we want to feel the focus and let the chips fall where they fall.
Chrissy and Simone believe conversations about race and size benefits everyone in the fitness community.
My goal is to let people know, Black people, Black women, we're here in the space. We deserve to be here. And not only that, we need to be a part of the mainstream. And if you're not Black or a person of color, you need to understand these other perspectives. Because again, you are helping most likely clients that don't look like you. And if you're not having these conversations, if you're not coming to these realizations, if you're not doing some education around these topics, you could be harming people for one, and also turning people away from fitness spaces where they need to be.
And for Simone, showing up has made an impact.
The response has been overwhelmingly positive. One lady, she came to me after class and she's like, I love that you look like me. And that was so affirming to me to hear that people feel like they are welcome in these spaces because their instructor has a little bit of a tummy.
Since the pandemic, she has been leading classes online.
I want people to know that fitness does not have a size, neither does health. I want people to know that you don't have to exercise for weight loss, that you can exercise out of the joy of having a body. And I also want people to start to think about accessibility. How do we make our fitness spaces accessible to people regardless of gender and race and color and socioeconomic background, not only in terms of our actual gym, but also in terms of our teacher trainings so that we have diversity across the board.
It's bigger than just getting out there and linking up and running.
32-year-old Lance Woods, a project manager for a local nonprofit, and 30-year-old consultant Joe Robinson are both enthusiastic runners from Detroit, introduced 2 years ago.
One friend saw that we were both participating in the Miami Marathon, and then they put us together.
Motivated by a love for their hometown, the Fast Friends created a running club in May of 2019, proudly boasting their area code called We Run 313.
We run Detroit! We run 313!
In our very first run, we had over 100 people show up.
And they've kept it going with an average 200 plus runners at weekly events, including their popular 2 Mile Tuesdays.
Joe, your slogan is connect, run, build. What does that mean?
What it means is short for our mission, connecting like-minded individuals through running to build a happier, healthier community. We want to bring people together who want change.
Change to them means seeing more runners who look like themselves at races.
Let's say if it's 20,000 people, you might come across a sprinkle of Black people in those races. And in a city like Detroit, that's 85% Black, we don't see Black people running. We have the power to change that.
But the pair's primary goal?
To
helping residents reap benefits like lowering risk of heart disease and diabetes and improved mental health.
How has this shaped you physically and mentally?
Running has been the most transformative process. I mean, whether it was mild depression or anxiety, running has just helped me deal with those things in a different way. And I feel stronger than ever. I feel smarter than ever, obviously faster than ever. And I just feel like I'm who I'm supposed to be.
Is this for people who are all ages, all running levels?
And yes, it is for runners of all levels. We have people from 6 all the way up into 65, all paces, all sizes, all races. And the impact that we got from We Run 313, it surprises us to this day.
All the way through. Good job.
We're seeing lifelong friendships being formed. We're seeing people start businesses. We're seeing people not only start businesses, but meet their clients at our runs. We're seeing relationships. Hopefully we'll get a marriage out of the Run Club soon.
People come to us and tell us personal stories about how it's changed them from the inside out. The greatest thing is that you're not doing it alone. The beautiful thing about it is that you have a whole community of support. We're encouraging one another. If you're falling behind, we got pace leaders that's going to say, come on, you got this.
Good job. All the way through.
How did the pandemic impact your mission?
When everything shut down, Joe and I, we was encouraging people, hey, this is a great time for you to take your health serious, get out there and get outdoors and run. We started a Run Solo campaign. With COVID-19, it made us look at things from more of a macro level rather than just micro in the city of Detroit. And we started to engage people nationally.
Today, Lance and Joe are committed to going the distance for those ready to follow their lead.
If somebody told you that this was what you would be looking at 2 years ago, what would you have thought?
It would have been very difficult to believe. But now I know. Running has led me to believe anything is possible, especially when it's in the name of progress, when it's in the name of positivity, and when it's in the name of change.
We run 313.
When the nation and the world shut down, planet Earth got a rare break, and for the first time we saw more deer and turkeys near Boston, dolphins swimming in a quieter New York harbor, and waterways in Venice so clear you could see jellyfish, and the rarest of rare, Florida panthers boldly out in the open. But not all was reason to celebrate. Starving wild monkeys invading cities in Thailand, absent of tourists who would normally feed them.
Nature responded to less traffic, less disturbance, especially in urban or wildlife-urban interfaces. Absolutely, nature responded.
But we responded as well, humans.
Oh, completely. And I like to think nature got a break.
But as nature got a break, a new plastic overload emerged thanks to all our masks, an estimated 129 billion disposable ones dumped every month. But those paper ones have plastic, and because of the virus, there's no recycling. As for air pollution, at the height of last year's shutdown, the often polluted Beijing finally had clear skies. But just 2 weeks ago, the old days were back. And also in the atmosphere, a stunning 7% drop in carbon dioxide after U.S. passenger volume dropped 96%.
Nobody would have wanted to see this pandemic, but from a science standpoint, the data you've collected is a gift.
That's right. Absolutely right. Now, it's a gift to the science, but it's also a gift to us, to society, to the human race. It demonstrates we can do this.
There remains some yet to be understood phenomena. Biologists recorded loggerhead turtles laying 11% more eggs on the beach. And the song of the white-crowned sparrow pre-pandemic, hard to hear. But now,
It's sort of the first data showing that animals responded to changes in human behavior.
what have we learned this past year? Even though COVID remains a disaster, many of us can work from home. We don't need to drive everywhere. And if we hold on to that, scientists say we can positively impact global climate change.
This happened just in a year.
That's right. So it's phenomenal. We can do this. We can solve this problem. That's what it tells me.
And Carrie, as mentioned, you're at that bird sanctuary in Florida. Have they seen any major changes after the pandemic?
Well, actually, the folks from the Audubon Society were seeing more nesting, wading birds than ever, like the wood storks that you see over my shoulder here, and that may be as much to do with the rain. But then, as Dylan knows, the rain is complex because it's impacted by El Nino and La Nina, and that, of course, is impacted by the way we have lived our last year. So, yes, it all connects, according to scientists.
All right, Carrie, thank you very much. It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
The Florida scrub jays are squawking, but scientists fear we may not be listening to their warnings about climate change. He just landed on my head. It's crazy. And this is not like a trained bird at the circus here.
This is a wild bird. This is an 11-year-old breeding male. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's a really remarkable bird. He's one of the rarest birds in North America.
150,000 scrub jays once called Florida home. Today, Cornell University ornithologist John Fitzpatrick says there may be as few as 3,500. If this bird disappears, why should we care, other than the fact that this is hilarious?
This bird disappears, it's because we've destroyed an entire ecosystem. And that's what endangered species are about. The endangered species are about telling us of a whole system that we want to protect.
Their home is fast disappearing because increasingly, king tides driven by climate change are forcing us to move inland to higher, drier ground. We are now competing for the same inland areas where the scrub jays live.
That's a huge effect of climate change, is that they're coming in from the coasts. What's happening even right now, the realization that the coastal zone is getting inundated with the tides. People are moving into the inland. And where are they going to move in Florida that's safest of all? 100 feet above sea level here. We're on 400 feet thick pile of sand here, old sand dunes.
We joined Dr. Fitzpatrick on 20,000 protected acres at Archbold Station near Florida's Lake Okeechobee. Recently tracking the jays with a thread-thin antenna, the data shows the jays stay in a 400-yard radius, which is why when the complex impacts of climate change take their habitat, their numbers dwindle.
That's the nest right there. She's going to come back down and show you where it is.
Only about 30% of Florida scrub jay eggs that hatch survive predators like snakes. They're so tiny, I'm not even sure I could tell it was a bird.
You ever heard the phrase naked as a jaybird?
That's where it comes from because it's so true. You can barely tell it's a bird.
Yeah.
There was a time coal miners took birds underground to detect deadly poisonous air. Is this any kind of canary in our coal mine?
Absolutely. All of these birds, especially the ones that are so dependent on specific kinds of habitats, they are telling us of the things that we're doing right and all the things that we're doing wrong.
Biologists say they never expected the Florida scrub jay to become the poster child for Earth's problems, but if this unusual picture helps, they'll take it as a win. Guys?
Wow.
Right on
Impressive
cue.
you can keep the bird on the head that long.
Yeah.
A lot of peanuts in the pocket for that.
He's really trained Carrie well.
Carrie, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Al Roker, here with you for another episode of Climate Conversations. Now, do you know the difference between weather and climate? Well, the simple way to remember is Weather is your mood. Climate is your personality. Weather's what happens in the short term, what it feels like outside. Is it raining? Is it sunny? Is it cold? Is it warm? What's the temperature? You might ask mom or dad in the morning before heading off to school. Climate, on the other hand, are those many weather conditions over many, many years. Is it always snowy and cold in January where you live? Maybe you can always count on it being hot and dry in the middle of summer. That's your overall climate, the weather you experience over time. Well, think of climate as a clock. What happens to you if your body clock is off? Maybe you stayed up way too late. Next day you feel really tired and out of your routine. Well, as the climate changes and continues to heat up, the Earth's clock is being thrown off, meaning it could be too hot during the wrong time of year. Maybe it feels summertime during the winter months. It can also mean places are getting way too much rain while others not nearly enough, and that makes it tough for farmers growing crops or animals to find food. A warming climate also causes weather extremes like more wildfires, stronger storms, and rising sea levels. It's important to understand what's happening to our planet and why, and what you can do to help make things better.
Mr. Roker, how's it going?
Fine.
Al?
Hey guys, we are on the Roosevelt Island tram. This is the only way to fly. We are, it's one of the greatest views ever to see New York City.
And it's $2.75. It's the price of riding a subway.
It's a bargain. And we thought, it's Earth Day. So what better way than to head to the skies to talk about the importance of clean air. We're on our tram cam now, Bill.
I know, I love the tram cam. So everybody, if you haven't been on this tram to Roosevelt Island, it's really remarkable. It's part of the city public transportation system.
But we're in the air, clean air we take for granted.
See, so here's the fundamental thing that's hard for all of us, is every single thing everybody does affects everybody in the whole world because we all share the air. Nobody you're going to meet and have a conversation with is not breathing. And so we all use air. And so a tram like this is a way to cross the bridge, cross the river without using the bridge, without driving a car. It's the price of a subway. It's just an amazing thing. If you ever come to New York and haven't ridden this, it's really spectacular.
What's the one thing we can each do maybe to help keep our air as clean as possible?
So it's the same old things, you guys. Just don't leave the lights on. We're not kidding. Anytime you're using electricity that you don't need, you're going to almost always in this country pollute the air a little bit because we get so much of our electricity from fossil fuels. This is a solvable problem. But these incremental things are important. But we need big ideas, Al.
Yes.
Clean water, renewably produced electricity, access to the internet and information for everybody in the world. Let's get out there and change the world.
All right, big Earth Summit today, climate summit at the White House. President Biden announcing the U.S. will reduce carbon
by half.
At least 50% going forward.
It's really visionary, you guys, and it's scary. But we can do this. Let's all work together. We all share the air.
There you go. Bill Nye, thank you for helping us celebrate Earth Day. Happy Earth Day to you, my friend.
Happy Earth Day.
All right, guys, from the tram cam, back to you.
I love it.
Right.
Guys,
Happy Earth
such
Day,
good
guys.
information.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning. Welcome to you today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Take a closer look at TikTok these days, and you'll see a lot more than goofy dance crazes.
This is what a climate crisis looks like. There's only 73 southern resident killer whales left.
Climate change is cool. The new influencers are activists.
There are actually 5 garbage patches in the world's oceans.
Like Mike Brown and Earthtopia. A few months ago, his video shaming users for following the latest dance trend instead of his planet-saving page went viral.
Within 3 days, it was 4 million views, which is crazy, yeah.
I mean, that's reaching a lot of people.
It's so inspiring. That's why we're on TikTok. We want to spread tips and understanding to as many people as we can access.
Teens around the world inspired by Swedish activist Greta Thunberg to get involved and stay involved.
The strike for climate has arrived in America.
When I first met Alexandria Villasenor, she was 13, organizing a nationwide school strike for the climate from New York.
Enough youth keep striking and going out to the streets, we'll get the action that's needed. I was 13 when the campfire.
2 years later, and in the middle of a pandemic, she's organizing online.
I think every single day that I go on social media, I see another youth activist, and I'm like, well, follow them. We have less than 9 years now to take action. We see the urgency. We're the ones who are going to keep the pressure on our world leaders and consistently remind them what's at stake here.
And it's not just about sharing messages. Activists oceans away are sharing their own problems and their big successes. Protecting the coast in Thailand, saving trees in India.
You can't tackle climate crisis with big ambitions. You need to try solving the problems around you.
Picking up plastic in Nigeria and in the Netherlands.
No, it's a bottle.
Lily Platt started her campaign when she was 7. She's 13 now, with a TED Talk on her resume and spreading her message on Twitter and Facebook, too.
It's a big problem, isn't it? Can one person have an impact?
That's true, because no matter how small it may seem, eventually it will become such a huge impact that people will somehow find a way to listen.
For young people, it can often be overwhelming, the lack of agency you have and the lack of power you have. They can't vote. They can make a video that can be accessed by thousands of people or millions of people across the world.
Is this a trend or is this here to stay?
So social media and TikTok is all about trends. Climate change isn't.
People united will never be divided. Our voice, our planet, our voice, our planet. Climate change has got to go.
My name is Greta Thunberg, and I want you to panic. I want you to act as if the house was on fire. No one is acting as if we were in a crisis. Around the year 2030, we will be in a position where we set off an irreversible chain reaction that will most likely lead to the end of our civilization as we know it. That is, unless in that time, permanent and unprecedented changes in all aspects of society have taken place. You cannot ignore the scientists, or the science, or the millions of school-striking children for the right to a future. I beg you, please do not fail on this.
My name is Alexandra Villasenor. I'm a 14-year-old climate activist, and I live in New York City.
My name's Harriet. I'm 15 and I live in Castlemaine in Australia.
My name's Callum. I'm 12 and I also live in Castlemaine in Australia.
I guess when I first saw Greta Thunberg, I was just very inspired by her because she was a teenager just like me.
Our friend read an article about her in the Guardian newspaper, and at that point she was basically striking solo, and we thought that was really inspirational and amazing what she was doing, and we're like, let's do that in Australia.
She kind of like kick-started it in my brain to start seeing actually how climate change is affecting Australia, not just Australia but the world.
Greta, the person that she is and the way she told this story, it's very unique because she brings the urgency of action and she brings the honesty of inaction as well.
And that's what really made me decide I needed to be involved, because I think I have a moral obligation where I do have some influence, and I'm morally obligated to use whatever influence I do have for the, the greater good.
I've been on school strike every Friday for the past 40 weeks in front of the United Nations.
Well, the first strike in São Paulo, it was very small actually. We had maybe around 20 to 50 people.
First ever strike was in Bendigo, which is kind of like the closest big city sort of place. And that was our first ever strike. And it was, we only had 15 kids that went along. I didn't know how people in Bendigo would react from it because no one really knew anything about it.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy that I was going away from school for a day.
It all really happened like really fast.
And the next strike we had like 20 to 30 and so on until November 30th. It was like 5,000 or something like that, and it was really cool. Crazy.
So I was alone for many weeks. I'd striked in wind, rain, sleet, and even the polar vortex. And so really, even though I was alone, I still felt so much support through social media. That's how we do outreach. It's how we connect with other activists all around the world.
March 15th, they estimated between 40 and 50,000 people in Melbourne, 1.5 million roughly around the world.
It's amazing just to see how many students are striking and taking that direct action. I think it's so empowering seeing all these different students in every single country striking every Friday and on those global climate strikes. It just shows the strength that my generation has.
I think I found it really empowering to see how many other people joined in and how many people did really care. It was really incredible and inspiring and just motivating. It just makes you want to keep going.
When I go out and take direct action and when I strike, I'm doing it for those who can't. So using your privilege for good for the strikes is really what's important for those who can.
I think that I fight because it's a matter of survival. This is an opportunity for us to change the whole system, for us to find a better way to connect with each other and to live our lives that is sustainable and that is respectful towards other people as well and towards other cultures and to the environment.
I think what's very scary for me to think about is the ecological collapse we're in. We're losing so much species and biodiversity all around the world that it's very scary because my generation could be the last ones to see the species all around the world today. So the next generation won't be able to look at the same animals that we see today, and that's very scary to think about.
I think about lots of different weather extremities, big bushfires, massive floods around the world, the polar ice caps melting. It's a big mindset issue. We need to be thinking about it like an emergency.
What I'm hoping to achieve with my climate strike is a reduction of global greenhouse gas emissions. I want to see world leaders stay in line with the IPCC report that came out last October.
In Australia, we have our three main demands, which are 1, to stop all new coal, gas or oil projects, starting with the Adani mega coal mine, and 2, to commit to making Australia run on 100% renewable energy by no later than 2030, And 3 is to fund a just transition for all workers and people impacted by the climate crisis.
We hope people learn it is a crisis and that it is something that we have to deal with now, because we can't really just put it off like everything else.
So first we have to accept that this is happening and to take action about this and to accept this as a fact. And as the next steps, we really need climate education at schools and public schools specifically. Another is to stop deforestation, because we are almost at the tipping point of the Amazon forest.
My message to Greta is that she keeps doing what she's doing, because it really shows how much of an impact she is making.
Seeing how the movement started and how every week there are people in the streets in many different countries and from many different cultures, it feels like things are changing.
What I hope the next generation learns from the activism of the youth right now is that they have a voice too. They can go out, they can lobby their politicians, they can make their voices heard to whoever they want to make the world a better place.
So instead of looking for hope, look for action. Then, and only then, hope will come.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends of today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready? Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
This morning in our series, Today Goes Green, a college student on a climate crusade, helping create something remarkable, a tool that shows how climate change is transforming our planet. And we're revealing it exclusively this morning here on the third hour of Today. Today, Google Earth is releasing Time-Lapse, a first-of-its-kind tool that allows you to see the world in an entirely different dimension.
These last 4 decades have been a time of really kind of unprecedented changes taking place environmentally on the surface of the planet in ways visible from space.
Understanding what's happening to the Earth has never been more critical, with the highest level of carbon dioxide ever measured in our atmosphere just this month. A drought-stricken California on pace for another extreme fire season. And record high temperatures, 10 out of the last 11 years. Passionate about the global crisis and anxious to make a difference, college freshman Liza Goldberg teaming up with Google to create their new product.
We have these really dramatic aquaculture hotspots. I decided I wanted to single-handedly stop climate change.
At just 19 years old, this is just one on her list of impressive achievements.
You were offered an internship at 14 at NASA, but you didn't actually have to apply for it.
When I was in middle school, I did a science fair project in my backyard. I ended up entering that science project into a local science fair, and at the science fair, there happened to be a judge there who worked for NASA.
The judge was so struck by the teenager's ingenuity and love for science, he offered her an internship at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center on the spot. Dr. Lola Fatoyinbo was Liza's internship supervisor and mentor at NASA.
When you heard you were getting a 14-year-old intern, what were you expecting?
I think that we were only expecting her to come, maybe once a week but she ended up coming multiple times a week. Then she stayed the whole summer. The fact that she was able to have a conversation at our level with us, we thought, okay, this is not your average 14-year-old. I just thought it was interesting that we're seeing this pretty globally.
At NASA, Liza's job, interpreting satellite imagery, also teaching herself how to program and create maps.
I always felt so lucky, really, that I was given this opportunity to actually see the world from a different perspective. I was also going to school during the day and seeing really a gap in the ability of other students to really understand the extent of global changes that were occurring.
For the past 2 years, I've been working at NASA Goddard to create a completely Earth Engine-based portal called EcoMap.
Using her new skills, Lila invented Cloud to Classroom, a series of climate change apps built with Google Earth Engine and satellite imagery, designed for students to see and understand how climate change is impacting our planet.
This project was started on that basis, on knowing that people aren't always going to believe the statistics that they read about in news articles. But when you're given an image, suddenly your brain goes, oh, I see this. If I see it, then I can be able to believe it.
What's the reaction been from students and teachers?
I think students and teachers have been really excited about the potential of these apps to just kind of create a sense of empathy in the broader public. I think a lot of the reason why, climate change denial has been such an issue is because people are really unable to grasp how these sorts of global environmental change are going to actually impact them and future generations in their local communities.
So what we'd like to do with this program is actually make it into a web-based portal.
And as for being a role model,
I really hope that any young girl in particular watching this sees how I can go from knowing nothing about the fields to doing this kind of global scale research and thinks, I can do that too.
I mean, this is
so impressive.
It's so next level.
19.
You're 19. Think about what we were doing at 19.
In college?
Yeah, in college. It wasn't changing the world, that's for sure. Liza's developed 18 climate change apps that are used in 15 countries. She's working on more of them, and because she's just a slacker, she currently is having them translated into 3 additional languages.
I need to do it through Mom's eyes, because see, this is why I do this, because I'm like, what did she feed you? Like, how did you do that?
How did you instill that to make a difference in the world?
Yeah, I mean,
Hello, beautiful people in Today Nation. We love that you're tuning into our favorite streaming channel, Today All Day.
We are already halfway through the week. Savannah and I are here in Studio 1A. You're at home. You're watching Today in 30. We got a great show, a great half hour to kick off.
First, we're going to bring you the very latest on where things stand in the push for COVID booster shots and also vaccines for kids under 12. We're also going to take a closer look, a deep dive at what's driving those